Okay, so on to the Street Talk segment of the podcast, and we've got a whole lot of curry to talk about this week. This is going to be, the last, maybe next week's going to be different, but the last week where there's like proper hour-long episodes to talk about, I guess, aren't they? Because apart from Corriedale, it's next week it's going down to the half-hour ones, so Street Talk maybe a little bit shorter going forward, just slightly, but as I say, I'm sure next week there'll be plenty to chat about. So, Gemma, before we get started on then what we thought about this week's Festive Coronation Street, I have got some clickbait titles for you sent by lovely Jonathan. And the first one is this. This comes from OK, Gemma, and it says, Coronation Street's Abby's next romance on cobbles sealed after Carl betrayal. So, who do Corrie fans think that Abby is going to be bunking up with next?
I don't remember her talking to anybody.
Well, she didn't talk to many people this week, exactly. I was a little bit confused by this. But I suppose...
Tyrone?
No, I thought that Tyrone could be one of them possibly, but he's happily shacked up with Fizz at the moment. There is a singleton on the cobbles at the moment that she's had plenty of scenes with this week, actually, which makes this barely scandalous at all. Do you want to give it away?
Not James, is it?
Not James.
I don't know.
Good grief. Kevin.
I was going to say Kevin.
I know, so they managed to string an article out of the fact that people are thinking maybe Abby will go back to Kev once this all is over and done and dusted. I kind of don't want her to now, but I don't think that it's completely out of the realms of possibility, do you?
He seems very cross.
Yeah, but he's always cross, isn't he? He could cross at her, cross at Carl, cross at anybody, but he's also very lonely, so that could... lead him possibly to want to rekindle things with her. But I think it's a bit like... I think it's going backwards, isn't it?
Who's been washing his pants?
Well, maybe that's... I think...
Has he been washing his own pants?
Maybe he's learned. Maybe he's become an independent man. Cooking his own tea, washing his own pants, scrubbing his own toilet.
I can cook my own beans, Abby.
I don't know who else I would pair Kevin or Abby off with at the moment, particularly. But I just think, I think it would be bad for Kevin, a bad look for him, if he went back to her. At least in the short term. Maybe in a few years' time they might realise, well, I suppose there's nobody else for us. Let's go back to it again. And he might be thinking, well, I got back with Sally after that whole affair thing there. But I don't know.
Look how that turned out.
Have to wait and see. They weren't awful together, but
maybe
they weren't
Sally
the best either.
And Kevin can get back together, and then Tim and Abby can get together.
Tim and Abby, yes. God, they'd be able to get to all kind of raunchy stuff there, wouldn't they? With husband and wife partnership. I don't think they'd like it. I think that they probably
think it was a bit weird, maybe. I don't know. Maybe they would like it, maybe they wouldn't.
I can't remember what they've said. I'm sure that they've talked about it in interviews before. I don't think that Sally Carmen would be particularly up for that. But, if that's what the producer wants, that's what the producer wants. Manchester Evening News this week, Gemma, reported that Coronation Street fans, like you and me, say it's ridiculous as character redeemed over a year after debut.
No, it's not Carl.
No. So this is somebody who, it says over a year after debut, so you might infer from that it's between a year and 2 years after debut.
Kit.
Yes, Kit. Kit has been redeemed this week by being the only person with his head screwed on regarding the whole Becky situation.
Why do people think it's ridiculous?
I think some people were just saying, hang on a minute, Kit's not been Lisa's biggest fan all this time. In fact, he's been quite openly antagonistic towards her at various points over the past 18 months. And obviously, I know better than anyone else that Kit is a really awful, terrible character. And so some people who are quite also rightly on that same path as me with regards to feelings towards Kit are thinking, no, you just don't have him be the hero and save the day. It's ridiculous.
Well,
and other people are saying, well, somebody's got to do it, I suppose.
You're all just nonsense.
Why? Are you happy for Kit to be the saviour in this?
He's complicated.
Yeah.
He doesn't hate Lisa.
No, he doesn't. He just really wants that promotion, doesn't he?
He just doesn't really care one way or the other sometimes. And you know what? I think we've all felt that way about some people in Coronation Street.
This is true. This is very, very true. I'm ready for. I don't know whether Kit's going to stay in the show after this is all done and dusted.
You better do.
It's not feeling like he's imminently departing, does it?
No.
But kind of what would he do? I suppose
He
he's
just
so
moved in
tied into Sarah
with
Louise,
Sarah.
isn't he? Yeah. Okay, maybe that was just wishful thinking there. Okay.
Who
Also,
do you hate more with Sarah, him or Adam?
they neither inspire me whatsoever.
Well,
Bring back Dead Callum, I say. He had a bit of spark to him. Manchester Evening News. Coronation Street, Kate Fitton says New Year's Eve ruined in not ready admission. So this is an off-show clickbait, Gemma. What ruined Kate Fitton's, lovely Kate Fitton's New Year's Eve?
her dress didn't turn up.
No, that's a good one there. Nice
She
idea.
hadn't watched Corrie, so she couldn't go out.
No.
She didn't want to go back to work.
No.
She was making sausage rolls and she underestimated how long they take to cook.
Yes, that's exactly it. No, not at all. She had a cold. Sad times on the 31st of December. You can sympathise with her there, can't you?
I feel
As you're
rotten.
struggling through today's recording. We're in at the beginning as well. She had a bad New Year's Eve, but what was she not ready for?
Sausage rolls to go in the oven.
No. What's the big thing that everyone was looking forward to on New Year's Day in pop culture this year, Gemma?
The Traitors.
No. Close. What's the other thing on telly that we have not been watching? But everyone.
The Night Manager.
No, not The Night Manager, but good reference. Stranger Things, the end of Stranger Things. She says she's not ready for Stranger Things to come to an end after all of this. We've dropped right off of that, haven't we? What did we?
Did you ever watch it?
Yeah, I did. I watched the first 2 series at
Did
least.
you?
I might have even watched 3. I don't know. But it was just getting a bit boring and complicated for me. And what's your? You usually stick with things, don't you?
Yeah. It's because I made the mistake of rewatching the series to try to watch the new one, and then I kept doing it and not getting far enough into it to get to a bit I hadn't seen yet. And so I was watching the first series going, yeah, I know. And then get to a bit where I'm like, actually, I don't know about this because I wasn't paying attention properly. But I can't pay attention because I've already seen it.
Well, I don't know. Maybe one of these days we'll pick it up. But
everyone seems to hate it.
This is what we've heard, and I wonder which of the endings that Kate Fitton got.
No, that was a hoax.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I thought it was hilarious, but it was a hoax.
Maybe it was deflecting, and that's what Corriedale's going to end up in. Maybe there'll be
would
2
be
separate
great,
endings for that.
Yeah,
one of them Weatherfield gets blown up, and one of them Hotton.
Yeah, why not?
Final clickbait of the week. Liverpool Echo. Coronation Street's Vicky Myers shares incredible personal update.
She won a Conversation Street Award.
No, she did not win a... No, she did. Well, the Swallow Story won a Conversation Street Award, isn't it? But, yeah, she has not...
Is it to do with her Secret Santas?
No, it's not, but she is going on about... Well, I don't know, really.
What was it
This is really boring. It was just saying, what a
time.
great year it's been. And isn't it great that everybody loves Lisa Swain? I think was basically the long and short of the article.
Saying.
Well, I would be as well. If I was the number 1 starring character of the year.
Yeah.
I'd be going, poor, great though.
I'll be going, I'm in the money, give me the money.
Yeah.
I assume you get paid for this.
Yeah, but I wonder how many, what was, because they get contracted a certain number of guaranteed episodes in the year, don't they? I wonder how many over her initial...
They don't. I bet they've got that under wraps now.
Yeah.
No way of getting any extra cash out of ITV anytime soon.
No, but I do wonder how much they have thrown at Corriedale. Because...
how much did that cost?
Yeah.
Because if that one episode of the tram crash cost £1 million...
No, I thought it was the whole week of Tram Crash was £1 million. £1 million
I didn't
plus.
do the accounting.
But ITV doesn't have oodles of cash to spare at the moment, but they are really, really, really bigging up this event. And I think if it's anything other than monumentally spectacular, it's going to feel like a bit of a letdown.
It's difficult because you can't not hype it because then no one will watch it. But if you overhype it, you've shot yourself in the foot.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, how much did the press day cost?
Well, oh yeah, I guess that must have been quite an expensive do to put on. A bit of a shindig. I don't know.
It's not even like the Soap Awards. You get a TV show out of it, so you can offset some of the costs. You get it back in advertising and stuff. But the Corriedale thing was kind of like that, except there was nobody to pick the bill up.
Yeah. The other thing with this, which I guess is different to the tram crash, I would imagine that some people who had been like viewers of Coronation Street in the past but had dropped off before the tram crash probably tuned back in, or just some maybe general viewers hearing, hey, there's going to be a big tram crash, there's going to be a live episode at the week. I imagine more people were drawn in, like lapsed viewers, but I don't know, I don't get the impression that this is going to recapture that many viewers. Do you?
Honestly, I think, yeah, it seems to me to be off-putting for new viewers. Because you'd be like, how am I supposed to know what's going on if it's 2 soaps that I don't watch? Maybe I could pick it up if it was 1 soap, but 2 at once, I don't think I know what was going on.
Yeah, it will be interesting to look at the viewing figures for the single episodes and the Corriedale episodes and see how many people, like... Because, it would make sense to say that the Corriedale is going to get the bigger... audience figures at the end because it's got 2 soaps worth combined, but I suppose it will then also be telling as to which soaps out of the viewers that the Corrie and Emmerdale usually get singularly, how many also watch the other one, because it's not like you're not going to put the Corrie and the Emmerdale viewing figures together to make 6 million or anything, are you?
The point is, though, I don't think the point is to get new soap viewers. I think that the point is to consolidate the ones they've got and try to get some crossover and get some more Corrie fans watching Emmerdale, probably. Yes,
I think so. I mean, it worked for us this week. As we were saying earlier on the show, we've been watching Emmerdale since Christmas Day, and I've really actually been quite enjoying it. I don't have the time to carry on watching Emmerdale. I don't even know whether I would if I did have the time. But there's definitely going to be some people there that will be going, oh, let's watch it. And then go, oh, great. And hopefully, for ITV at least, stick on.
Yeah.
I suppose. I don't know. I guess that's the plan. With time will tell whether it actually works or not. So, this week's Corrie then. So we had some half an hours. Monday and Tuesday were half an hour, weren't they? But there were actually 1 episode split into 2. Do you remember?
I feel like it was.
It felt like it was, because it was Glenda and George's party. And Tuesday's episode 100% felt like the back end of Monday's episode, which kind of spoilt Tuesday's a bit for me, because a lot of the main developments, I think, happened on the Monday episode. And this was just kind of picking up. I wouldn't judge. I've seen so much discourse online about I don't like the half an hour episodes, and I think the half an hour episodes are brilliant. It's just perfect bite-size amount for me, and it's difficult to judge that based on the half an hours we've had this week. And then we had an hour Wednesday, Thursday, Friday this week, so the half an hours probably start next week. I know that the daily thing is another matter, but how are you feeling currently about it only being half an hour per trip to Weatherfield?
My main problem is that I think it's going to be... It's not so that it's half an hour, it's that it's every day of the week that's going to get me.
Yeah, I know.
Because this is like work for us now. Whether we want it to be or not, like how much we enjoy it is irrelevant. We have an obligation to watch it and talk about it, and just the idea of having to do it every weekday is kind of like intimidating me, to be honest with you.
We will see. I know what you mean, though. I feel
because it was 3 days a week, now it's 5 days a week. No matter what.
I don't feel completely different to you. Even things like, we will usually record our bonus podcast on Tuesday evenings because there's no Corrie on that evening, and that's not going to happen now.
And I know you didn't like the early uploads, but at least you can watch it when you want.
Yeah, I know.
But I just, I don't want to watch it every day. I just don't.
The half an hour ones, I have to say, I've been quite outspokenly negative about the half hour ones in the past couple of years, and I don't really have a problem with an hour at all. And sometimes when they've had half an hours, like that Christmas episode a couple of years ago, it's felt like it's over and done with before it's even started. But then some of the half an hours that we've seen around Christmas time felt perfectly plotted. But it's like 22 minutes, it's nothing. Whereas if you get your half an hour EastEnders, for example, I think that's probably 28, 29 minutes, isn't it? Because you haven't got the adverts there in the middle at the end. So it really is going to be bite-sized chunks, but yeah, more regularly.
But I think also our previous sort of experience with half-hour episodes when Corrie was 5 episodes a week, but it was 2 on Monday, 1 on Wednesday, and 2 on Friday. So the Wednesday one always felt like a pointless afterthought.
You're right. I think we did think that.
And nothing really happened because they didn't have enough time. And now, up until this week, they've always been the same length. So, although there's a natural lull on a Wednesday, they've still got more done.
Yeah, I wonder whether things are going to feel rushed or what I don't. As long as they don't keep on making ones that are set the same day. Like, I don't want it to be write it as an hour episode, split it into 2 Monday and Tuesday, because that will absolutely kill the pace, and I've got no idea whether or not they're doing that. I get it. Time will tell. I don't think we're going to be able to tell from next week on its own. We're going to have to give it a few weeks to get into it, and just to get away from the spectacular Corriedale-ness of it, and I will see. Anyway, storyline titles for this week, Gemma. I know how much you adored my fully Christmas-themed storyline titles last week, so I've attempted to do some New Year's Eve themed storyline titles, and I'll tell you what, they're all pretty rubbish, but I set myself the challenge, so I hope you're ready for this.
Challenge accepted.
I did kind of mix up my stories a little bit this week, because I started off putting the Tyrone bits and bobs and Evelyn separate, but then it kind of turned into it. So I want to get the Tyrone stuff out of the way first, because there's not a whole lot to discuss there. I've either gone with the obvious New Year's Evelyn or New Year's Party with Tyrone.
Party.
Yeah, I don't know. So maybe New Year's Evelyn we'll have first. Next up we've got Abbey New Year, which obviously that writes itself.
Excellent.
But I did also put / Debbie Wedster, because I was thinking that before we were going with the non-New Year's Eve themes. Todd Langsyne.
Okay.
Yeah, I told you they're not great. Old Lang Swain. And New Year's Eve.
Yeah.
And a fireworks show for Shona. The bits of this week felt like padding to me. And speaking of padding, Shona's baby bump this week made a brief appearance, but it just didn't feel any purpose to it. David and Shona have been the cover stars on ITVX this month, haven't they? And although there was stuff towards the beginning of the week, I was expecting to have a bit more Platt focus on the Christmas and New Year's Eve week, and we just didn't. But anyway, we'll talk about that a little bit as we're getting weary at the end of Street Talk. But this Tyrone stuff first. It's just I don't know whether anyone else is the same as me, but I've not found the Tyrone Fizz getting hit by a car story in the slightest bit engaging this year. It's just kind of something that's happened to the side, and there's been this whole mystery of who did it, who ran him over, but we found that out fairly quickly. So there seems like there's just been endless months of Tyrone saying, "Oh, but who did it?" and Fizz struggling at home. I don't know. It's just not hit me. Are you the same?
It feels quite remote. It feels like it does. In a soap, you should feel like you're in the middle of someone's problems, and you're experiencing it with them. But this, it just does feel like I'm watching somebody else going through something that I'm not that bothered about.
Maybe it's also.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, it does. That makes sense. But maybe it's also like the other stories are feeling a lot more impactful and dramatic. So to have this relatively placid story going on at the same time, maybe that counts against it. I don't know, because Monday is all about him coming off his bars at the physio, but then he gets too nervous to go to the physio appointments. Fizz is nagging him. Evelyn's saying, "Oh, are you scared about not being able to walk again?" And he's like, "No, I don't. If I choose not to go there, then I won't."
I'm surprised you didn't want to call this Fizz Says Go.
Physio.
Fizz Says Go.
Well, that's not New Year's themed, is it? So maybe we'll have that next week. Anyway, she's like, "Oh yeah, well if you don't want to go, don't go." And master of reverse psychology that Evelyn is, he does go. Or at least she comes back from the party again later, or from the pub, and he said he's been, and I was like, has he really gone? But yeah, it turns out he has, that we just haven't seen it. They're not investing enough into this story, honestly, to make me care. And of course, it's been brilliant having Evelyn back over the festive period, but hooray, he's been to the physio, and Evelyn feels smug about how she managed to guilt trip him into going.
And she's been doing some legal research to try and help him.
Oh yeah, was that Tuesday as well? Yeah, she goes and sits in the pub and looks in books to try and figure out how she can find out that it's Carl. Little does she know that all she needed to do would be randomly flying her drone around Weatherfield on the day that it happened, and you just so happen to pick up the incriminating footage. It's easy.
I think Evelyn's going to be, like, personally offended when she finds out it was a drone.
Do you reckon?
Yeah. But she hates them.
I bet she does. Anyway, so on Wednesday we have Tyrone and Kevin going to the pub. Kev doesn't particularly want to go.
Kevin doesn't want to do anything.
No. Well, he doesn't need to, does he? What happened to him turning his own house into a pub? Have the guests dried up after the first...
This hospitality.
Yeah, it probably is, isn't it? Like, you got Kevin on the one hand, and you got Maggie on the other, and somehow Maggie's able to
draw them in.
To draw them in after that, yeah. Anyway,
they both give away about the same amount of free booze.
Yeah, that's true. Anyway, they go, and Tyrone and Kevin end up sitting on Maxine's bench for a bit, and he's just sad about being lonely and miserable for 2026, and Tyrone's like, oh well, let's just go to the pub, and wish for a better new year coming up. So they go in there, and he ends up having Maggie and Eva smothering him with kisses and shoving their boobs in his face. So he has a great old time, doesn't he?
Well, for that day.
For that day, at least, yeah. Just, when was that? That was Wednesday, and it all kind of kicks off properly on Friday, of course. But that was the stuff that was going on with Tyrone's car injury in the lead up to the big revelation on Friday's episode. So I wanted to get that in first. So, Abbey New Year is our main first story for this week. And it was all leading up to Debbie's wedding, but also the revelation. Abby was able to keep it under her hat for a good period, wasn't she? That she's found out about Carl and James's sordid little affair.
Yeah.
She obviously, like Kevin, wanted to make the biggest impact during a big family gathering.
Yeah, it felt as though she didn't really have a plan. She kind of ad hoc'd it on the Friday.
Well, although to be fair to her, she did say to James on Friday, I know what you and Carl have been up to, and I don't want anybody else to know yet. So she's playing a proper long game on Friday's episode. It was we know, but the general public doesn't know yet, do they?
But she kind of revealed it to him. I know he still hasn't worked out everything that she's done.
Yeah, Carl knows that Abby knows that he's a wrong 'un. And he put up no pretense on Friday's episode of any kind of love or affection towards her.
It must have
so
really
that is
stung
dead in the water
to see how little he cared at all that she worked it out. He was like, well... Yeah.
She's like, well, we didn't win the Conversation Street Award for Ella Love, so we might as well call this a day now, Abby.
Yeah, you can't win it. Can't win it more. You can't be nominated more than once.
You can't get Ella Love next year. So my best bet is to try and find someone else for 2026. I wonder how much of 2026 Carl is going to be still surviving for. Right, so Monday, Carl has noticed that Abby's a little bit off with him. And she's going to the Trafford Centre. He doesn't want to come along with her.
Stuck in the car park for 4 hours.
Yeah, but he does give her a big kiss on the way out.
People did.
Oh, did they? Have people been stuck in the Trafford Centre this week?
Well, not
all their Boxing Day savings.
Yeah, apparently. Some people were there for like literally 6 hours.
Oh my gosh. Well, luckily for Abby, she didn't go to the Trafford Centre. She swerved it and went to go and see Tracy, her old mate Trace, at number 1, and said, Carl's cheating on me. And then she just has a bit of a cry. And Tracy hugs her. Yeah. Good for her. But for Tuesday's episode, which picks up immediately afterwards, Abby's saying to Tracy, yeah, Carl's at it with James. And I think possibly on the podcast last week or the week before, I might have put it out there that Tracy already knew about that. Because I have been losing track about who knows what about what recently. The biggest one this week has been people still thinking that Becky is Kim. Like, especially Sarah Louise. She's been like, oh, she's odd. What'd she say? For being Lisa's sister, that Kim isn't really anything like her. And I think an awful lot of people down the country, us too, are going, oh, do people not know she's Becky yet? It's because she's doing such a terrible job at being undercover. And
she's putting no effort in at all.
Well, she's not putting effort in.
She doesn't need to because they're all so stupid.
I think that the programme could have done a better job at making out that Becky was still being undercover, because she's literally just been parading around like nothing's happened.
It is utterly ridiculous, really, isn't it? Like, I normally try to be quite charitable towards Corrie, but Becky just wandering about brazenly, and even Carla fighting with her at Halloween, not making any real effort to pretend. Like, what did people think that they were talking about?
I know. So
because it's not like everyone in Weatherfield are like, oh well, it's none of my business. I shouldn't be involved. I'm not going to listen. It's embarrassing for them. I'm just going to respect their privacy. They're all going, oh God, what's going on now? How exciting.
I know. I genuinely think that my memory for certain plot points is getting worse as I'm getting older.
Well,
but for this, I really wish. Oh, go on.
Well, a lot of the plot points are the same over and over again. And so you can't remember. Is this the version where they all know, but none of them know that everyone else knows? Or is this the version where one person knows, the other person doesn't know, but they know something else that the third person knows, and they know about both of the other things?
They really should have done a better job at making Becky's cover more obvious.
Like, all they had to do was chuck in every now and then her going, oh, I can't go out now because that bloke next door.
Or even just somebody calling her Kim. Like, that name came up this week from Sarah Lou, and that was the first time that I think it's been uttered for about a month
they
or
have
so.
They have said.
Have they? Oh, I don't know. Maybe I'm just not watching it well enough. Again, getting old to just blame that. Anyway, so this is when Tracy finds out that James and Carl have been at it. No reaction.
Very accepting.
Very accepting Tracy. We know one of the most tolerant people on the street.
Tracy was gay in prison.
She wasn't she?
And then she was also
gay with Paula.
She was, yeah.
So not a blink of hang on a minute.
It's all
Carl, but he's a man, and so is James.
That's not the scandalous part, Michael. It's the affair.
Yes, it's the affair. That's the most important thing is. And good old Tracy, she is good for something, and that is telling Abby to buck her ideas up and say, if I were you, I'd be out there ripping his balls off. So you go and do that. And Abby's like, yeah, maybe I will. Or something like that anyway.
I do think that somebody would have said, what, James? At some point. But
so far, very few people know.
No, I know, but it's the same with Carla and Lisa.
Yeah.
And I like to think that the world would be like that, but I just don't think it is.
I think if Coronation Street wants to reflect reality, it needs to show some people showing a modicum of surprise.
But I understand what you're saying, but I think what they're doing instead is trying to model behaviour.
Yeah, they are. But why have Tracy Barlow model the behaviour?
Well, like we said about her history,
that was also fairly retconny, wasn't it? I don't know. It's we'll see when it comes out whether anybody else is at all surprised.
I think I've got a temperature. I'm just gonna say.
This is the thing. We were surprised. The viewers were surprised. They purposefully made it a massive shock when they revealed that Carl and James had been at it. They were like going, you didn't know he was into men as well, did you?
Oh, are you surprised, you bigot?
Exactly. No, they lent into the drama of it. Like, you weren't expecting this, and people were surprised. That was one of the biggest twists of the year. But to have Tracy just going, well, none of my business, but an affair. I don't know. It just doesn't ring true to me.
Well, I don't know. I'd rather. I don't know. It's. Eventually, I guess that will be what it's. Everybody will be like, whatever.
I don't know. But I mean, there's no Les Battersby person on the show. Can you just imagine if he was still in it these days? But if he didn't say that, because Corrie these days doesn't have anyone acting surprised.
What about Vera?
Yeah,
Vera was a right homophobe.
Although I suppose we did have Evelyn last week making a couple of remarks about the Carla's not cut out to be a lesbian.
She got in trouble about that.
Anyway, Abby thanks Tracy for her sound advice and heads back home. So she's at the flat later when Carl comes back and plops on the sofa and he says, some of Mum's friends, I think it was, have been in touch with me. I don't know what to say to them. He is genuinely, fair play to him, utterly bereft that his mum's popped her clogs, isn't he? And I know that there's not a whole lot of sympathy going Carl's way at the moment, but he's not making out, he's not pretending that he's grieving, is he? It feels pretty genuine for him.
It must be really difficult and complicated when you had a difficult relationship with the person who's dead and there's no way to go back or change it or have what you need from them, you know, because really she's the mum. She should have been the one to mend the fences.
Yeah.
But he's going to feel guilty anyway.
I mean, to be fair play to her as well, Elaine did reach out to Debbie, and more on that later. But maybe she could have contacted Carl.
Yeah.
So I feel bad for him for that. And also, I did think it was nice of Abby when she was like, oh, look, your mum would have been proud for you. Because what she's feeling about him at the moment, the cheating scumbag, she didn't need to say anything like that. She didn't need to utter a word to make him feel any better.
No, I think she was twisting a knife here.
She was a bit. She was saying, look, she's going to be proud of you. Soon we're going to have a lovely life in Germany together.
She's trying to make him feel guilty.
Yeah, she was. But she could have done it in a way that didn't, ease his upset at all, and it did. So I thought that was still quite nice.
Plus, he's probably got a cold head.
Huh?
He's probably got a cold head, hasn't he?
Why?
He's got very short hair. It's a very difficult time of year to have quite shaved head, and your mum's died.
Very true, very true.
It's hard.
So, Wednesday's episode then. So what's this? This New Year's Eve, I think? Carl comes over to Debbie's flat.
New Year's Eve?
Yeah.
Is it? Hang on. I do not know. All right,
Yeah, definitely. 100% New Year's Eve episode. This is the first hour long. Carl comes over to Debbie's flat, and this confused me a little bit, because he says he's had a call from the funeral director, and he can go and see his mum and say goodbye if he wants to. And I think a lot of us were thinking, where is Elaine at the moment?
That's because she weren't paying attention.
Did they say?
She's in Southampton, wasn't she?
No, they couldn't have been. She couldn't have been.
Why?
Because him and Ronnie went down and visited her.
Yeah, but she was dying. She was in the country because they talked about it.
I know. Well, some people thought that maybe she was in Germany. I thought the possibility was that she was in Southampton. But yeah, over the course of the episode, it's literally 2 scenes later, in this storyline at least, Carl and Ronnie are back from having seen her.
Well,
so maybe, I don't think they've gone far.
Maybe they don't make a big fuss about going to Southampton like we do.
What? It's only 4.5 hours.
6 hours like it does us. Maybe they didn't have to stop for the toilet and go into Starbucks and having lunch.
Do you reckon? But I would have said the roads were probably maybe a bit busy as well.
Yeah, they would have been.
So it's kind of leading me into thinking that maybe Elaine was living nearby, which again would make it even worse if you were Carl, knowing that she was, just a stone's throw away, and yet they never
Look, who's he trying to kid? Like, I do feel sorry for people in this situation. I don't feel sorry for Carl, really, because he's a dick. And he would have not seen her anyway. Even if she'd been a nice mum, I bet he would only have ever bothered seeing her if he wanted money.
Yeah, no, that's not a bad point, actually. But that does lead me to wonder, is there going to be anything in terms of inheritance that he'll be getting? I mean, does he need it anymore? This is the other... Is he still being chased by the German loan shark mafia? It's like 8 months, maybe, since we first heard that they were giving him his final demands. What has happened with that?
Well, you have ignored our demands, and so we are literally powerless. So enjoy your life.
Yeah, I don't know. That's
Christmas.
An odd loose thread there, unless it's something that I've missed.
Germans love Christmas, so if I've cancelled, you're dead.
That is true, actually. They do like a good old festive boozer when it comes to Weihnachten.
A glue
wine, yeah. A bit of
Have some Bock first.
What are those horrible Lebkuchen? Those horrible, disgusting gingerbread biscuits that I actually can't stand. But yeah, they've dragged out this Carlo's money story for far too long. But anyway, going back to the theory of the plot point of where Elaine is, I think she must be nearby, because the very end of this week, he finds the post-it note from Debbie that says call Elaine, and it looks like she did call her, right? Because it's been ticked off. I didn't even particularly notice that when he picked it out of the cupboard at the beginning of Friday's episode, but Debbie didn't deny that she has been in contact with Elaine. So there's been a secret meeting there that we weren't being privy to.
That's not fair.
And the showrunners purposefully didn't, or led us to believe that she didn't have that meeting with her. I think on the day that she died, she gets that message. She gets either a text or a voice message from Elaine, doesn't she? So it was a text saying we need to talk about Carl, and then Debbie buggers off for the rest of the episode. She doesn't go to the hen do, does she?
She said she was in Leeds.
She said she was doing some last minute wedding planning in Leeds. I now think that she was there.
Maybe Elaine died in Leeds.
Maybe. So, no, where I think that Debbie was visiting Elaine during a hen party, and I don't know.
Well,
whatever they talked about finished Elaine off. That must make Debbie feel even worse, though, knowing that she's talked to her, and then hours later she'd shuffled off her perch.
Unless she smothered her with a pillow, like I've always said.
Do you think? Is that going to be the big twist here? That actually Debbie killed off Elaine?
Yeah, that's what she was going to say on Friday. Carl, if I'd known, you would have cried. I wouldn't have killed your mum. Can't believe I said it.
But I mean, we're not going to be getting any flashbacks to Debbie speaking to Elaine unless they've recast her.
Oh, who cares?
But there's
it's not that important.
Well, it is, because what they were talking about is clearly this theory that we've had for weeks about Debbie being Carl's mum, which I was so ready for her to reveal at the end of the wedding episode today. I was utterly convinced going into today's wedding episode that this was going to be the big reveal, and finally we'd say, yes, look, Debbie, I am your real mum. But maybe now that's coming for Corriedale.
If Carl was Debbie's real mum, that would be right twisted.
Anyway, that's my little theory about what she was getting up to during the
I think you're right.
I think I'm right too. We had this odd little scene with Leanne and Ryan in the hotel on Wednesday as well.
She's got a date.
She's got a date with Greg was his name or something like that.
Toya's old husband,
who doesn't even get a speaking line before she bins him off for being too dull. But it does also lead to a little bit of a with Ryan and Leanne leading some people to think that maybe they're going to get back together at some point. I can't even remember what happened the first time with them, to be perfectly honest with you. I told you my memory's shot. But they talk about the fact that Ryan has been told by Raphael that Carl's been buying cheap booze and selling it off at full whack. So he's had these suspicions against Carl on Wednesday. But doesn't really do anything to act on them, does he?
How did Raphael find this out? Has he been sampling?
Raphael is a wine connoisseur, Gemma. He knows his plonk from his whatever the opposite of that is.
I don't know. I don't know what is a good wine.
His Chardonnay from his... Is that a wine?
Yeah. Pinot Noir. What's the best one?
Pinot Noir to Pinot Noir, dear.
Yep, that's us.
So, I don't know. Maybe when it all comes out, Ryan's going to be like, told you.
The only thing
and Raphael said, no, I told you.
The only thing I know about white wine, I learned off Sally Webster.
What's that?
ABC.
What is it again?
Anything but Chardonnay. And no, I won't drink Chardonnay, and I don't know why. But it's the one I know how to say.
I don't know. I want the alternate universe version of this, where the one to bring Carl down is Raphael. I think that if they're not going to have it on the main show, at least, come on, let's have a Raphael spin-off.
Yeah, where he is a Teenage Mutant Hero Turtle.
Why not? Why not? He wished us Happy New Year, didn't he?
Well, he's my favourite.
Who plays Raphael.
He's my favourite. I love him. I want him to be a main character.
Anyway, Carl and Ronnie have been to see Elaine later, and he's saying, oh, I'm so sad I didn't get to say goodbye to her. She was always so cold and distant to me, almost as if she's not my real mum.
Almost as if she didn't like you because you're a dick.
And then he says, oh, maybe I'm incapable of love myself because I never got it growing up. Sorry, don't blame that on Elaine.
What about
Bill? Yeah.
And Ronnie's like, but you do love Abby, don't you? And he's like,
right.
Oh, what? Who? That one.
Yes, of course I do, Ronnie.
Yeah, she's all right.
Anyway, they go back to the flat. Main bit happens later on. Abby has got Carl's phone because now she knows his passcode to get into it and seemingly his bank detail.
Just all the same thing.
Same passcode for everything.
You'll never need to remember.
I would love to live in a world where you're allowed to have the same passcode for everything, but you get all these ones that say, no, you change your password every 6 months, can't use a password that you've used before, got to be 6 letters, got to have a special character and a capital letter in them. I heard
that there's an IT security expert who said that that's actually a load of crap, because the best password is the one you don't have to write down.
I do my best. Like, I'm juggling lots of passwords at the moment, and a lot of them are variations of each other.
What, Coronation Street is great one. Coronation Street is great too.
Exclamation mark. Coronation Street underscore
61.
Yeah, exactly. But I feel sorry for people like Debbie. She's going to have post-its all over her cupboard with her passwords on at this stage.
She should just set up facial ID.
That would have been useful with her iPad during a speech, wouldn't it? To be fair.
Yeah.
Anyway, she checks his balance and finds that he's got £18,000 of Debbie's moolah in there. But then she can't really go much further into it because he comes and gives her a cuddle out the bedroom. And they agree to stay in and watch telly during New Year's Eve.
If you took a shot every time somebody said, let's have a quiet one, on both New Year's Eve and the day after, you would have got very drunk.
What, on Corrie or in real life?
In Corrie, everyone was going, oh, we'll just have a quiet one.
Let's have a quiet one. We got Corriedale coming up next week, so I need to conserve energy for all that. But it's all right, I'm not going to be in it. Oh, fine, party on down then. She when she sends him off for a New Year's curry, he's leaving his phone around an awful lot, isn't he?
How's he going to pay for this curry?
And I know some people do, but if I was A, having a secret affair, B, selling off dodgy cars with fake MOTs, C, embezzling 18 grand's worth of my sister's hotel money, and C, on the run from the German mafia, I'd probably have my phone with me at all times, because you never know what notifications are going to pop up. And what do you know? As soon as he leaves the room, ding, hello, it's Lufthansa here, your flight to Dusseldorf for Friday is all booked and ready to go, check in now. So Abby realises at this point that he is going to be doing a midnight flit. What was it, 10:30 or something in the evening his flight's supposed to be, after the wedding.
What's midnight flit in German?
I don't remember.
What's midnight?
I can't actually remember.
What's 12?
I think it's just Mitternacht.
What's flight?
Flug.
Mitternachtflug.
Yeah, he's going to do a Mitternachtflug. And, anyway, so she knows that he is buggering off without her. And that's about it for 2025 with this storyline. Thursday, the mood was a lot more cheery. We had Debbie's pre-wedding pamper session at number 4, which was lovely. She seems to have accrued this bunch of friends kind of seemingly out of nowhere in the past few months, hasn't she?
It is quite funny that she's
Bernie and Glenda
manifested a gaggle of middle-aged friends.
Like, I'm not complaining in the slightest, because we've been saying for I don't know how many years Corrie needs to do more in terms of friends, and I fear that once this story is out of the way that they'll probably dissipate and never even give each other a look again. But to have Bernie, Sally, not Leanne this time, she was there for the speech but not this one, Glenda and all that lot together, it's just lovely, absolutely loads of fun. And they're doing a pamper session, and then they got cucumber on their eyes and yogurt on their faces, which Bernie was quite partial to.
I thought they was going to end up giving him a rash. They did keep saying.
That does seem to be, it does seem to write itself, but I think that having that on the eve of the wedding probably wouldn't be the best. I didn't want anything to be coming in the way of at least the ceremony part being absolutely lovely for Debbie. So I'm glad they just ended up having a nice time talking about toe jobs. So they're all having a lovely time. Meanwhile, you got Jack and Kevin setting up a massive bit of plot in number 13, which is them doing a dance to Kylie's Can't Get You Out of My Head. Because obviously Kevin would be well up for doing that. And
also, isn't this a bit of an old song for Jack?
Yeah, it's like over 20 years. No, not at all.
Wouldn't he have to dumb?
I don't. Well, Kylie is timeless, isn't she? She's a Christmas number 1 this year.
Yeah.
Always relevant.
The eternal Australian ray of sunshine that she is.
Yeah. So for what I was watching this thing. Why are they doing this? But obviously it then became apparent on Wednesday's episode. But anyway, Sally comes to the door and says, look, Debbie's really anxious about you and Carl and what you're gonna, she just wants tomorrow to be nice and go as planned. And Kevin's like, no, I'm not having anything to do with that, man. The only reason I'm not broke Carl's neck is for Debbie. And she says, look, I'm not getting anywhere with this. And she leaves. Kevin, utter tit.
I bet she's like, oh, thank God I got rid of this man. He is such
a drag.
Such a miserable old
to compare what she's left with now, and I know you're not Tim's biggest fan, Gemma, even though that's a bit of an understatement, but
he's better
can you
than
imagine?
Kevin.
Well, Sally's just talking about how much rumpy pumpy she gets up to with Tim earlier in the episode. Kevin probably couldn't even be bothered.
No, Kevin would be like, oh, what's the point?
Her life with Tim is infinitely better than it would be had she stayed with Kevin.
I don't want to have sex with you because you might enjoy it.
Yeah, this is a no fun zone, Sally.
She would be like, don't worry, that won't happen.
Anyway, so she leaves. Abby goes to the hotel and tries what?
Sorry, I just think Kevin is the worst man.
He's dreadful. You'd have thought that surviving cancer would give him a new lease of life, but no.
He's worse than Carl, right? Because at least Carl is trying to give the illusion of keeping people happy and not rocking the boat until he absolutely has to. Whereas Kevin's just like, it would cost me nothing, but I won't do it.
Yeah, like Tyrone, bless him. He's doing his best to try and chivvy Kev up, but good for him. Most people would have given up by this stage.
Yeah, when a guy who literally hasn't been able to walk for months is the one going, cheer up, Kevin, it's not that bad. Like, what is wrong with you?
I know that he's had a rough year. He's been one of them. Well, anyone who's been keeping their head down and had under 50 appearances, probably. Sure.
That's true.
Sure, Alex in the cafe has had a whale of a 2025. He's just been in on a 365-day bender, and that's why we've not seen him.
I bet Raphael's like, no, my life is charmed.
I think it is. Raphael's loving working at the hotel.
I've got a great life, got a great apartment.
Get to listen into drama, but never have any of my own.
Got a cat.
Yeah, he's adopted off of the Swains.
Yeah, probably rescued it from drowning.
Flooded apartment, yeah. Speaking of which, when are we?
Spin-off, Raphael rescuing the Swain cat.
Are we soon coming up to the 12-month anniversary of Alina's flooded apartment and going, I'm sure there's something that I left here in Weatherfield last time I came. Oh yes, it's my son.
I'm too busy bailing out my house. My grandma's still drowning.
I don't know what is going on with that. What on earth? Anyway, so Abby and Carl and Kevin, because Kevin turns up at the hotel as well, and he's like, well, fine. If we stay away from each other unless we absolutely strictly have to, I suppose we can get by. We've got to support Deborah. And Carl offers to shake his hand, and Kevin's like, not bloody lightly, thank you very much.
Yeah, I don't want to touch you. Yeah, he does. This is the thing. Kevin will often say no, and then we're supposed to think, when he says yes.
He's just. I think he just likes to make a show of being a crank.
Yeah.
He's like, what the expected reaction from me is to be an old stick in the mud about absolutely everything, and then maybe some of those things I'll later come, crawling back to or make it seem
everyone will be grateful.
Yeah,
everyone has to be grateful to me for acting like a normal human.
Yeah, I know. We then cut to the pampering session, and they're going all that about facial yoga. That was quite fun. And Sally gets a message from Abby or whoever it was, Kevin, I don't know, to say that the boys have had a make-up and it's all going to be fine. And Debbie's like, hooray, can't wait for tomorrow, no more dramas, it's going to be wonderful. We also, you'd be forgiven for forgetting this sometimes, but Ronnie is also part of this wedding, isn't he?
Oh, who? What, the groom?
The groom plays some part. It's bad, isn't it? Everybody just sees this as it's Debbie's wedding, it's Debbie's day, it's Debbie's story.
I mean, I think we'd all be happy if she got married to herself.
I think we would. I think we'd all
understand.
She's
so perfect.
I think I've warmed more to Ronnie, in the past year, but I still feel almost nothing about them as a couple, which is bizarre.
No, I don't agree. I think he's great.
Do you?
I do. I'm really happy with Ronnie. I think
Deb Ron.
He's a good character to go with Debbie because they can't both be flamboyant. He's got to let her shine. And there aren't that many characters in that age bracket who aren't a comedy character that have got the ability to just let Debbie be Debbie and just worship her and think she's wonderful.
I wish that they gave him a bit more of a personality himself. Like
I think
we
he's
know
got
so
quite
little.
confidence.
We know so little about him. Like, what does he do for his job?
He likes rum,
business, property. I don't like it. It feels like it's that everything surrounding Ronnie Bailey, or so much surrounding him, is a bit of a black hole that we don't have with most of the other characters on the show. And they could have used this year as an opportunity to flesh him out a little bit, but they haven't really. In my mind, they've just given him the same material that they would give any kind of blank slate of a character. And for someone who's been in the show for as long as he has...
Well, maybe next year. Maybe this year.
I think surely in 2026, with what Debbie's going to be going through, they're going to have to really do some work on him.
Be careful what you wish for. Because normally when we find something out, it's a dark secret.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Anyway, so I forgot what I was going to say. Oh, yeah, because he's with Ed, isn't he, in the pub? And Ed's like, are you sure that you want to get married to Debbie? You know where it's heading? And Ronnie says, this was sweet, actually, when he says that I love her even more than he used to since her diagnosis. I'm there for her, whatever it takes.
See?
It was sweet, but again, it was, to me, a little bit generic. I'm a Prince Charming, and this is the sort of thing that I'd say. Like, not I'm Ronnie, and this is my personality, so I'm going to say this.
He is a plot device.
Yeah, I think he is.
But that's what you need in this story.
Yeah, maybe.
What do you want? More scenes with Debbie in them where she's not the main person?
No, I suppose I'm happy with the way things are.
Exactly.
I just like to moan, like Kevin.
Yeah.
And eventually I'll go back and say, okay, I was wrong about that. I suppose Ronnie's great.
In a relationship on Coronation Street, you can be a Ronnie or a Kevin. You either just keep your mouth shut or you moan. Yeah.
Okay, so Carl goes off for a bath in the precinct flat later, which gives Abby the chance to have a look at his phone again. And she goes into the banking app and finds out that he's withdrawn all of the money today. So he has got this 18 grand's worth of notes flopping around somewhere. She's got to move fast. And then we get a little bit of Debbie going into the flats, just doing more. It's going to have hashtag best day ever, best wedding ever, hashtag no more dramas.
Here's a question. What, apart from for maximum drama for the purposes of the show, why has Carl particularly chosen the week of Debbie's wedding to do this?
I think it's just a case of I need to be there for Debbie's wedding, and it's not like I'm expected to be there. I think he genuinely wants to be there for his sister's wedding.
But he must know that by doing this, she's going to know that he was plotting this during her wedding. Because he's stolen the money from her, don't forget, Michael.
He's still got the story, because he says this to Abby today, doesn't he? Like, oh yeah, I'm just going over to Germany to see some of my mates there. My mum's just died. So I think he was ready to give that excuse if he wanted to. But in reality, he's supposedly got this very, very slowly ticking time bomb that has been counting down from Zane. And it's maybe at this point possibly on Zwei or maybe even Eins, and it's going to go off at some point, so he needs to get away as soon as he can.
Do you think he thinks there's any possibility he won't get caught?
With what? Because he's already kind of...
No, I mean the fact that he's taken money off Debbie.
No, there's no way. That's definitely going to all come out. That's going to come out on Monday, surely. I can see. But
we'll do now.
Bundles of notes kind of flapping around in the breeze.
It will do now, but if it wasn't if there wasn't meddling, do you think he thinks he might have got away with it and say it didn't really matter?
I don't know. It's bad, isn't it? Because we've seen him gaslighting her for months. Like, in some ways, he does love her as his sister, as is still the canon. And in other ways, like, she's literally just there as a walk-in hole in the wall, isn't she? Mm-hmm. To get money from. He's such an arse. He really, really get.
Who's worse, him and Kevin? Who's worse, Kevin, him, and
Theo? James Bailey, that's who's worse.
He's a cheat.
The big reveal that's not really a reveal at the end of the episode, because this had been shown, 3 weeks ago maybe, is that Jack has finally put in the finishing touches to his geography project, editing his film together, and then Kevin says, go and get yourself some sweets from the shop. Popcorn, that's it. I'm going to get a sneaky preview of this geography project that I'm really interested in seeing. And what do you know? The very moment that he clicks on, I don't know how long this geography project is, or whether it literally is just look, I spied at my uncle getting into a car, give me an A. But yeah, just so happens that what Kevin sees is that footage from a few weeks ago of Carl getting into the car that ran over Tyrone. I mean, come on. This is supposed to be the lead up to this big epic reveal on Friday. A story that's been bubbling away about Carl being a wrong 'un for the best part of 6 months or more. And the plot point they decide to reveal that Carl hit Tyrone is Jack just so happens to film it, and Kevin just so happened to look at that exact point of his video project. And also, wrapped in there, Jack didn't really notice that Carl was on his project? Or do you think he did but didn't care?
I think this is weird, because you'd think if he'd seen it, he would have said, "Oh, you're in my project."
Yes, he would. He totally would. He's not blind. He would have seen that that's Carl, or he would have said to him, I've got you on video here. Or, hey, Dad, look at this. I managed to video Uncle Carl on my drone. But then I was also a bit confused, because I thought it was he working with Liam? Because I thought it was Liam that filmed it before on his drone. But Liam's not been in it this week, so I don't know. But...
Well, that's just harsh, that is, isn't it? Wait until somebody's not in it and then submitting your project.
Taking all the glory. Here you go, Mrs. Crawshaw. All my own work.
I thought this was Liam's. Oh, well, he's not here, so...
He would have 100%. He knew what was in his project. He would have said to his dad, "Oh, look, here's Uncle Carl." It's utterly ridiculous. And I just hate when they do things. There's a difference between that and, Theo's overheard Billy talking to what's-her-face about the grooming. There's a difference between that and you kind of expect that happens in soap, as stupid as it is, than this, which is... I don't know. I'm not saying that I've got a better off-the-cuff explanation about how Kevin could have found out, but I think this really, really stretches the lines of credulity to beyond breaking point. But anyway, that's what I think about that. Maybe I'm not the only one. Do write in if you agree with me.
Is what's the project about? Because
I don't know.
That's a really poor shot of... I mean, what is he... If it wasn't him trying to prove that Carl was driving that car, what was it a shot of?
That's a good point. Is it to do with... I don't know whether they've said... Because is it supposed to be the Freshco's car park? Because we know that it's just the Media City car park, which sometimes doubles up as Freshco's, but then sometimes it's the hospital. I don't know what... It's just, like I said, it's just been really thinly done. There's a little veneer of, there's a project and that's how it finds out. The most important thing is Kevin finds out. And I wish that they'd done a little bit more to develop that, honestly.
Corriedale's coming. They can't have time for it.
Anyway, so Friday, at last, we've got the wedding. Wasn't it glorious?
I think that Debbie's wedding dress, her whole outfit, is probably my favourite of all time.
She's brilliant. You love it. You always say, I want there to be a Christmas wedding so they can have a little furry bit. And she had a little furry bit. She had a little feathery top.
I love that.
She was awesome.
That headdress was so beautiful. It reminded me of, I know people are going to find this controversial, when Camilla and Charles got married. I don't care what you think about her. She looked great on her wedding day because she had that gorgeous halo of gold coming out of her hair, and it went with her hair colour. The same with Debbie, because Debbie's got this beautiful white hair. Those feathers sort of rising up just look so gorgeous, and also with the gold part of that headpiece, and then the off the shoulder feather boa kind of looking like snow.
And then you had Ronnie looking like a proper dude, didn't he, with his tux? None of this teal suit malarkey like Dev, as much as I love that. But this really looked like it suited him. He looked proper smart.
Well, it's also very classic, because she was wearing white and he was wearing black.
Yeah.
And that looked very smart, because he was the only one wearing black, everyone else was wearing grey.
Yeah, but then the rest of the wedding, the colour, it was just so amazingly, brilliantly Debbie. You had the dementia choir and all their different coloured tops. You had the room was all bright and vibrant. The reception was all dressed up to the nines.
It was very grand.
It was really grand, and I can't remember the last time that Corrie had a big grand wedding like this. I mean, but nowadays it's just lucky if they manage to get it, out of the bistro. Like we had Billy and Paul got married in the church, which used to be, that's what you did. But even nowadays it's very rare. I can't remember the last time that Corrie. It was a bit like it was like Mike and Linda's wedding, wasn't it?
Yeah.
With similar dramas going on in the bedrooms at the same time. The only thing it was missing was a post credits. Little comment as they were driving off, the bride and groom, although maybe they're saving that until Monday. But yeah, it was absolutely lovely.
Hotel.
Saddleworth Hotel in near Oldham, wasn't it? You found that for us while we were watching, and it just goes to show what a difference it can make getting out on location, because you can see that the cast. I just felt I had a little bit of extra zhuzh to them, a little bit of excitement.
Yeah,
they were like, we're going on a school trip kind of thing.
Yeah.
And they were able to use the location really well. They had the grounds, yeah, but they did a little bit. There was that lovely shot with, was it Kevin under a pergola or something, being all lonesome. And the beautiful...
Debbie wandering in the woods.
Yeah.
And the views.
The views of the moors and the hills around it, absolutely lovely. And it did put me in mind a little bit of Emmerdale. That's one of the things that I said as we've been watching that this week. There's so much outside stuff in Emmerdale. But I mean, it's not... Maybe there is in Corrie, but the outside in Corrie, it's just... You can see a load of buildings around it, and that's about it. They can't show the surrounding distance because that's Media City and a flower factory. But in Emmerdale, they can, because they're just in the middle of this luxury estate grounds, they can show these sprawling landscapes, and it's lovely. So it was really nice to get just a little snippet of that in Corrie today. They had old what's her name? Blue Merrick, Jenny, the registrar, I think her name is. Last seen at whose wedding? She did Gail's last year, didn't she? I believe.
Oh, right.
She's a one wedding a year girl.
Yeah, she's in semi-retirement.
It's nice that she's also on Belle's books in Emmerdale. She doesn't just stay to the Weatherfield weddings. So that was literally, everything about the whole wedding arrangement nuss of it was absolutely brilliant for me. And they had a few other extra bits of drama, and there were, as we will soon find out, a few possible plot holes in the episode, or things that they didn't explain well enough that made it a bit of a downer for me. But I'm so chuffed for this wedding of such a beloved character. They could have so easily had her say, you know what, I just want to have it in my hotel, so I can be proper in charge of it. They could have, that was an open goal there. They were like, no, let's go big. Obviously, it's tying into Corriedale, the fact that it's there in Yorkshire. But they didn't have to, and they did, and I absolutely love them for it. So thank you very much, Coronation Street. Let's have more of that, please.
The only thing they didn't film, I think, on location were the hotel rooms. Because those hotel rooms looked they were out of the Flintstones.
They did, didn't they? It did look a bit cobbled together is the right word, with all those stones jutting out of the wall, plastic stones.
How did that come about? The set designers, did they not look at a picture of where they were having this? Because it's did someone just describe it to them? Oh, it's made out of stones, and they went, stones, you said?
No, okay. I don't think they wanted or needed to make it look like the actual hotel rooms.
No, I know.
In the hotel, but it was
the actual hotel rooms actually not that spectacular. Most of them.
Yeah, we have done a little looking on their website, haven't we?
They just look like hotel, but there's a few fancy panelled ones.
Are you sure that was their actual website we were going on, and not one that's been knocked up by Becky's mate over the weekend to make us think it's a real hotel?
Yeah, I tried to book and it just crashed.
But they used everything else on location. I guess it was just the filming constraints inside the rooms. Or maybe they said, no, you can't go in the rooms. I don't know. Was the room that Becky and Lisa and Betsy in, where were they?
I think they were near the airport, so they weren't...
That wasn't the usual Chariot Square hotel room, was it?
It must be the downstairs, you know, the one that's where Alina stayed. Do you remember? The one that they do the front of the core experience.
Yeah, I don't know. But anyway, everything about the wedding, absolutely tip-top. Golf cart and all, loved it. And there were a few nice little scenes of them getting ready with their little harem, weren't they? I thought it was a really nice touch how they had her doing a video for herself. And I know they did the whole cliche border around the screen and the little flashing recording button to show that it's a video. But yeah, having something that she can look back on. And I'd maybe like to see her doing a little bit more of that, like, you know, memory making as this storyline progresses, because it's definitely very bittersweet and lovely to watch. But yeah, she's there in the room with all the hens, having a lovely time. Meanwhile, Kevin, back at home, is all suited up. He's still watching this Carl video. He's obsessed by it.
Well, he's not had anything good to watch since Zombiesi stopped.
No, well...
It got cancelled.
I'd be watching the traitors if I was him, but maybe he's not into that.
He probably gets too angry.
Too much excitement for him. There was a secret traitor this year. That's completely ruined the format
People
of the show.
keep lying to each other.
They're no better than Carla's traitors.
Oh, they're all deceitful.
Interesting. I wonder how many times Kevin watched that video, yet he still wasn't able to get it loaded up properly in the hotel, you know, for the tech whiz that he is.
Well, also never thought once, like, oh, I'm going to send this to the police.
Send it to the police, make a copy for myself.
Email it to myself.
You know, I do believe that Kevin doesn't know how to do any of that stuff, to be honest.
What, phone the police?
I don't know. Anyway, Ronnie and the Baileys come to the door.
He's probably still got a rotary phone. And he's like, 9. Oh, forget this. I can't be bothered. It's taking too long.
Right, so the Baileys come to get him. James is running a bit late, which doesn't really go anywhere. Billy's driving a minibus with all these other guests. And it is quite funny that, you know, Debbie said, I need it to be it's got to be a massive congregation there. Otherwise, they won't let me have it. And so I'm going to pick these very obscure characters like Tracy and Steve to come along to this wedding.
And
Cassie, you know, best mates with... No.
Not Ken.
Yeah, all these characters that need to be in Corriedale, they've got to come to my wedding next week. Don't ask any questions. Sorry, Leanne, you're not on the books.
You're just a business friend.
Yeah. So anyway, this is when Abby finds the bag of money. And this is my plot hole / thing that I don't think was really explained well enough. Part 1 of the episode.
/ could just us been not getting it.
Could have been us just not getting it. I don't know.
We did try to rewatch this.
We rewatched bits of this episode quite a lot. We also consulted with somebody else who'd watched today's episode, and they also didn't get it either. So I'm going to say Corrie could have done a better job of explaining what was going on here. So Abby has...
I think there were just some things we didn't see, but I don't know why we didn't see them. And us not seeing them...
Is it supposed to add to the mystery? Because it's just added to the confusion. It's not led to intrigue. It's like, did I miss something there?
Yeah.
So
anyway.
Abby's loading up the boot with all the stuff for the journey. A very tiny bag. And then she just so happens to look underneath the boot where there's a secret compartment. Mm-hmm. Well, you know, the usual where your spare tyre is.
You think where the spare tyre is a secret compartment?
Yeah, nobody knows about it. That's why I can't do those things. And she finds wedged in there a black holdall filled with cash. So the 18 grand in tenors and £20 notes is stuffed into the car. Now, why she thought to look there...
No, she's just being suspicious. No, I think that makes sense.
Really? I mean, I know that she knew that. I know that she knew that he'd taken the money out, but yeah, maybe even if they'd shown her looking in other places first. No time. Whereas the first place that she happened to look in on a whim, there's exactly what I'm looking for. How do I know what?
I don't know. She didn't look already, and we just didn't watch her.
No, that's what I'm saying. They should have shown it because it felt all just very convenient.
Yeah, well, it is.
So she's found this bag of money. And then she hides it back down and doesn't say anything about it. Meanwhile, you've got Carl at Debbie's flat, having a look round and very conveniently finds this post-it note with Call Elaine written on it and a tick, which I didn't notice that first time.
Yeah.
Then we see everyone pulling up at this gorgeous venue. Abby looks into the boot and finds that the bag of cash has gone. Right?
Yeah.
So the hidden cash that's underneath the main bit of the boot isn't there anymore. So she grabs a bundle of newspapers and another bag, another black bag.
That I assume is Carl's, because she was trying to open that to see if he'd moved it into there.
Yeah.
Which I assume he had done, because she never actually got to look. And then later on we see...
It's just super confusing.
Later on we see her go through that bag again, and there's money on the top, but all the rest of it is newspapers, because she's obviously found that bag again and found that it had the money in it, taken the money out and put the newspapers in.
I mean, we're starting to get to the stage in Kate Brooks' tenure where anything can be explained by a flashback here, but I'm at this stage thinking... Is this a setup for explaining what happened here? Because it seriously doesn't make sense to me. So it's the second bag that I know we're skipping to the end of the episode, but hey, you've watched it, haven't you? The second bag, we see her getting down from the hotel room.
From the
cupboard. And that bag has now got the cash in.
What I just said.
But only some of the cash.
Yeah.
So where's the rest of it? Has Carl got it?
No. You're supposed to think she's set him up. And she's taken the cash and we haven't seen her doing it. Hidden it somewhere else. That's why she took the newspaper out.
Okay, well my question then is, how has she taken the cash out of the original bag? Because we saw her closing down the flat and not taking any cash. And then the next time she looked for the bag, the cash was gone.
It feels as though there was an extra step or a scene that's missing. Because really, we didn't need an extra hidden bag. She could have just opened Carl's bag and found cash in it.
I suppose what's happened, because Carl did have that little stop off at Debbie's flat in between her originally finding the bag. So maybe she did the old swapperoo while he was at Debbie's flat?
No, because she looked for the cash bag when they got to the hotel and it wasn't there.
I don't understand. But if she did the swapperoo earlier, then she put the cash backs. I mean, she only put like a top layer covering of wads, didn't she? In the second big bag. So if she put the original bag back, just with a little bit taken out, maybe she would hope that Carl wouldn't have found it.
No.
So maybe he did. Can you see? I mean, are we missing something
confused
here, listeners?
I just think they've just not shown us everything that's happened. But what I think is, she went and looked, found the money on the way there. When they get there, she looks again and it's gone, and she's like, "Damn it, he's taken it without me seeing." But this is his bag. Maybe he's put it into here. She tries to open it. He gets there before she can, so she grabs the newspapers and his bag, and then we don't see her. Presumably, he's moved the money into his big bag. And then she finds it and then takes it out of that bag and puts the newspapers in to make it look like it's still got money in it.
They should have shown more. It was just too confusing. And you could say, well, why would Carl put the money from his secret hidden place into his big bag? Is it was so that he didn't have to go back to the car before he did his flit to the airport?
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe.
I think you're overthinking it a little bit, but I do agree that there's a step missing.
There is. I think we're missing... I don't know. If you are listening to this and we're missing something obvious, please explain, because I really don't know what went on there. Anyway, so that was that bit going on. Then we get to see... we have that little scene of Debbie going off to find her... what was it? Yellow Jasmine, wasn't it? With Bernie in the woods. And then they're getting lost, and that gives them the excuse to come parading on a golf cart later, which was joyous. And it reminded me of Hayley arriving at her wedding on the big pump wagon thing, wasn't it? It was just like that. Anyway, so everybody is in the venue at this point. Billy's tinkering away on the piano. Haven't seen
Tinkling, not tinkering.
Oh, he's maybe there doing a tinkering as well. Tinkling the ivories. And Glenda's conducting the choir, the real life dementia choir, what they call Vibrant Voices, I think, and they were credited as in the end of the episode. And they're singing Let There Be Love, was it called? I don't know what the name of it, but features in the lyrics anyway. So Sally's starting to worry that Debbie's not there. During this, we also had a little bit of Amy trying to talk to Tracy about the whole Asher situation, but Tracy is too engrossed in the fact that something's going wrong, which is probably the only reason she agreed to turn up to the wedding, in the hope that there'd be dramas or some kind of chaos would happen. She knows what it's like if you go for a Corrie wedding, after all. So they all end up, a bunch of them end up going outside to try and look for Debbie. And this is when Kevin looks like he's about to reveal what he knows about Carl to him. But then Debbie comes in, saves the day, gets in between them, and they kind of blows over for the time being.
Don't say it.
Yeah, exactly. Well, after the break, this is when we get the lovely ceremony. I love how Debbie was joining in with it, and then she just kind of took over. That was the what was the song? On Top of the World.
Yeah.
On top of the world, looking down on creation, only lovely song. As I said to you before, the only reason I know it is because Sideshow Bob sings it in an episode of The Simpsons. He only sings one line, so it was a treat for me to get to see the rest of it. To be honest, my music knowledge is terrible, I know. But it was lovely. It was so nice. It was bright. It was colourful. Debbie, Sue Devaney's got an excellent set of pipes on her, and I loved how that they didn't even have her stop there and then walk down the aisle. She was literally walking down the aisle, singing her little head off, wasn't she?
So
with
funny.
Kevin and Carl on either arm, like, way to make it all about you. But hey, it's her big day, and she took that message and ran with it.
Anyone else, you'd be like, who does she think she is? But this is Debbie Webster, and she deserves.
Well, it's
to be
just
the
like
centre of
it's just
attention.
like her flat. For me, they got it 100% right in all its garish outrageousness, and I don't think I could have asked for anything more other than perhaps an ice sculpture of Debbie during the reception.
Yeah, that would have been good. Yeah, I think it's so Debbie, and it is like. Yeah, anyone else you'd feel like you're so self-centered and like egotistical, but because it's Debbie, you think, no, she just loves having a good time and she wants to share it with everybody.
Yeah. And she does the old classic Corrie, I'm going to ad-lib my vowels thing, but I didn't even mind that, as cliche as it was, because she did a belting job of it. And again, it was her. It worked well enough for her at the speech the other week, so why not do it for her wedding vows? And it gets a bit
Imagine if she just read out a Weatherfield Women Business Awards acceptance speech.
Yeah.
So, I don't want to waste this because I wrote this down.
It kind of gets a bit sad at the end, where she's like, even when the time comes that I can't say I love you anymore, just know it in my heart. It was really perfectly pitched. It was Debbie Oates who wrote today's episode.
Yeah,
really thrilled with how it went on.
Some excellent lines, some excellent scenarios.
I might have
Really
given the
loved it.
registrar a few more lines, because old Blue.
Not all Blue Merrick fans.
I know, clearly not. I want to know. Maybe we need to
Why
ask
would you
Debbie
not
this. Or maybe we need to ask Debbie this. When you write the episode, do you get to choose who the registrar is? Like, I know they only bring this one out on special occasions, but do you know when you're writing the episode, I've got Blue Merrick coming in, so I better give her a few lines, because I know those guys at Conversation Street like her. Or it could be just anybody.
Could be anyone. Also, I like that during this, you could see Billy standing in the corner, like smiling and looking over, thinking, beautiful, it's really beautiful, but they're going to hell.
Why is this?
Because they didn't get married in the church.
He doesn't care.
That's how it goes, isn't it?
He took part in the ceremony. He's condemning himself, Jabba, quite frankly.
Dear.
I like how he didn't go and rejoin Todd in the seats afterwards. He was like, I'm the pianist in this.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyway, absolutely loved it. Perfect. And then we get to the reception, and it.
Ronnie flutters lines.
Oh yeah, he does a bit of it.
She says, "Oh, just say whatever."
Yeah, the fact that. But anyway, brilliant stuff.
And also,
what?
Debbie just declares themselves married. Like, she doesn't even let the registrar say anything.
Oh, yeah.
She's like, oh, look, whatever, don't worry about it, I'll ad-lib it, and now let's party. And, like, the registrar, who's called Jenny, obviously is like, yeah, oh, right, fine. I guess you're not actually technically married, because I didn't say.
Yeah, what Debbie says goes here, actually. Yeah. And Billy's like, yeah, it doesn't matter to me anyway.
It's all a sham.
Not in the sight of God, so well.
Say what you like, really, heathens.
We get the reception later, and again, lovely use of the of the not the set, what's it called? The location, yeah, so grand. It was brilliant. Tyrone's a bit knackered and saying that he might need to head off, and Kevin's just itching to drop Carl in it, isn't he? He's like, oh yeah, you go home, couldn't you? Maybe Carl could run you over there. And I don't think Carl notes. He didn't kind of twitch at that one, but Kevin's just, he's desperate to get it all out.
Is that the funniest thing that Kevin said for like a decade?
He's probably well chuffed with him. And he's like, really no wonder I don't make jokes very much. I just made a real banger of a joke there and nobody even laughed. I don't care that they don't understand the context of it. It was funny, damn it.
Never going to laugh again.
We appreciated it, Kevin. What I can't believe, Kevin... He's such a tit, isn't he? The way that I know we're going and skipping ahead again, but this is it. He did exactly what Maggie Driscoll did in last week's episode when they took a grand family gathering. She had something that she thought was so scandalous it couldn't possibly wait, and it would make her the centre of attention. Honestly, I can't see how this is any different what Kevin's chosen to do today. He could have waited, couldn't he?
No, I agree with you. I do.
It was a real gittish move, but maybe it is in. I don't think Kevin would do it. I could see Maggie doing it, but I think Kevin would be savvy enough to realise this is going to ruin my sister's day. No,
it's because Abby tells him that Carl's going. And he knows he's got to say it if he's going to say it at any point.
He didn't have to do it publicly.
He could have just phoned the police.
He didn't have to do it publicly. He could have caught his brother. He could have caught Tyrone. He could have just... I know, sorry, I have skipped ahead. He could have got Jack's laptop or whatever it was and said, Tyrone, look, I just need to take you to one side. Have a look at this.
Yep.
And you know what? If he'd have done that, things would have turned out differently because he wouldn't have been left with egg on his face like he was in the end.
But we wouldn't have been as exciting, would it, Michael?
Anyway, so what else has been going on? Carl goes up to James and says that they should go and find a room together at the hotel, and James says, no, sod off, stay away from me.
I'm not a cheat, you are.
Not interested in you anymore. And then we see Abby going to see Kevin outside. And she reveals that she also hates Carl at this point and says, look, I'm really sorry I ever hurt you. And for a man who cares for naught but himself. And Kev says he's going to knock him out when they get back to the street. And this is when Abby reveals to him that he's actually going off to Deutschland later. And Kevin says, not if I've got anything to do with it. Carl needs to pay for what I've done. So he goes back. He's done. So he goes back in and he sets up a scheme. This is my plot hole / thing that wasn't really explained well enough, number 2. So, the video is on Jack's laptop, right?
Yes.
The laptop came along to the wedding because I don't know.
Because
sorry, Jack, you can't stay at home. Was Jack was at the wedding as well, wasn't he?
Yes.
Yeah. So he was he saying, I've really got to finish my project, Dad. New term starts in a few days.
Maybe he just goes on the internet. On it.
I don't know. I mean, that's the biggest suspension of disbelief that a teenager of his age has got a laptop to go on the internet rather than just a tablet or a phone.
Video editing.
So the video is there. Okay. Kevin, I don't get what he does. He hooks the laptop up to the projector.
Abby and Carl see Kevin talking to somebody from the hotel. He goes off somewhere and then he comes back.
And Carl does a bit of a disappearing act as well, doesn't he?
Somehow, we're supposed to believe that somehow from Kevin's very clumsy and obvious clue about running Tyrone over, and the fact that he's disappeared, somehow from that, Carl's worked out that Kevin's got damning evidence he's going to show at the wedding.
It doesn't make sense.
Goes and jeopardizes it and replaces it with a video that he has no business knowing exists, which is the video of Kevin and Jack doing a silly dance.
I don't get it. Like, does he? Or does... Because what is it that Kevin presses play on? He's just got a remote, hasn't he?
Yeah, but then...
So, has he...
Hang on. Look, let's go... So, they did
They've done their speeches. Debbie's like, listen, Ronnie, you're a soap character now. You can't do a speech on cue cards. Chuck them in the air. Do it from the heart. So he does. And then a lovely speech it was too. Edge was a bit so-so.
Edge was great. James tries to tell Abby about the fair. She's like, shut up, I already know. You're blowing my cover. Sit down.
Yes.
Then Kevin comes and stands up and says,
Kevin's...
Right, I've got something really important to say. Sorry about your wedding, Debbie. You had a great one, but now it's over, baby.
Now it's my turn in the spotlight. Yeah.
I never got a big do like this for my wedding, so I'm taking yours.
So he presses play on a remote. As soon as he stands up in front of that giant TV, me and you were like, oh.
Before then, they were showing pictures of Debbie.
Were they?
Yeah, but you didn't really see.
Okay.
I assume they were actually Sue Devaney pictures. But he says, he stands up and he makes a grand speech like, oh, someone's got to pay for what they've done, some terrible thing. And then he presses play and it's him and Jack dancing. And everyone laughs because they think he's making a joke, which is very out of character for him, about like a self-depreciating joke.
Yeah.
At that, about him and Jack dancing.
But then he gets all cranky at Jack saying, Jack, come and help me with this. Why is this bloody video playing?
Yeah.
I don't know.
And Jack like is saying don't break it because you shouldn't even have it anyway.
So which leads me to believe he is playing it straight off the laptop rather than having transferred it to a USB stick and sticking it in the TV or whatever the laptop that Debbie's pictures were playing on.
And it's still playing when he demands to know from Abby where Carl is, and Carl isn't there. So it's not as though Carl grabbed the laptop and ran away without anyone seeing, because the video's still playing.
Yeah.
So unless...
Carl's been gone for a little while. I don't get it.
So
and why did Kevin? What exactly did Kevin have set up to play? How can it accidentally play that video when clearly he had it set up to do one thing? So that leads me to believe that Carl has tampered with it somehow. So has Carl seen Kevin sniffing around, had a look at the laptop himself and thought, oh, he's going to blow my cover.
I tell you what,
I better put this other video on.
If half an hour of Monday's lead up to Corriedale is explaining how this happened, I'm going to be a bit annoyed because it seems very... it doesn't need to be this complicated.
I'm feeling that we're not supposed to be thinking too much about it, but it's very rarely, actually, in Coronation Street that within a 1 hour episode, there's two massive plot points like this that I think... this just hasn't been explained enough, and it seems to be contradicting itself.
No, I know what happened. So he goes behind the back and he says, how do I play a video on the TV? And the guy goes, you need a USB stick. Here you go, you put it on here. So he takes the USB stick and he goes to sit down at the laptop and he edits, because he's really good at video editing.
Did he have Theo together
help him, just a clip of Carl, and he saves it as special secret geography project 1, but what he doesn't know is that Jack has actually saved the dance as special secret geography project 2, and he copies that one over because they've got obviously would have the same file name, wouldn't they?
It doesn't make sense. And then to make matters worse, later on in the episode, Carl's got the laptop.
From nowhere.
He kind of just brandishes it out of nowhere,
and then
doesn't
he throws it on the floor, and now the geography project is lost forever.
He throws the laptop on the floor and said, "Oh no, now the file's corrupted." And it's like, what? That's not how it happens.
This is why the Germans don't like you.
It doesn't work like that. It was making me twitch, and I've had a little look online since we watched it this morning for anyone else who's commenting on the early episodes, and nobody else seems to have mentioned it that I've seen. Anyway.
Maybe we're just stupid.
I don't know whether in one or both of these things with the bag of money and the laptop, I'm missing something obvious here, but I don't know. Anyway, Carl ends up coming back into the room where Kevin gives him a big shove. And it looks like they're going to have a scrap.
Well, this is the other thing that's confusing, because Kevin's broken into Carl and Abby's room, and he's throwing stuff everywhere, and then he says...
that's later, though, isn't it?
No, he says, what have you done with the video?
Yeah, but this wasn't in the room. This was downstairs still.
No,
this was at the
Carl
reception.
comes back to the room, and Kevin is...
Yes, it's downstairs. This isn't the hotel room.
Oh.
This isn't the reception, because everyone was holding him back, weren't they?
You're right. Yeah.
Yeah, remember in a later scene.
Yeah, sorry.
And Carl says it's a load of baloney when Kevin... does this grand reveal to say Carl hit Tyrone with the car.
And Carl's like, no, I didn't.
Yeah, and it was kind of one person's word against the other.
And everyone's like, well, I don't know what to believe then.
Yeah. Tyrone doesn't believe him. He's fuming at Kevin when he speaks to him later, saying, why did you do this in the middle of...
This is when Kevin goes back to Carl and Abby's hotel room, somehow gets in.
He says that he told the receptionist that he lost his key. He told him that he was...
So Tyrone
Carl.
follows him there, and he's trashing the place, looking for the video.
Yes. But what's he looking for? Is he looking for a laptop? But what was the laptop player? I just have got no idea. I'm really, really confused.
Was
he must have been looking for the laptop.
Well, because the way they talk about the laptop, Jack and someone else, I don't know who it was, both believe it must be plugged in. Don't they?
I don't know.
The way they talk about it, Jack's like, don't unplug it because you could corrupt the files. And someone else says, I'll go and see if I can unplug it. But you don't necessarily need to have plugged it in. It could have been sitting anywhere in that room. Maybe Carl found the laptop before Kevin got a chance. It was already connected, and instead of playing... No, because he wasn't there, was he? Maybe he was hiding. Maybe he was hiding behind the curtain, and he streamed a different video and then ran off with the laptop.
I literally have got no idea what on earth happened with this.
It's possible.
But I mustn't get too...
It's possible that it happened... in a way, but we weren't shown, so that's why it's confusing.
It was super confusing.
It feels like a couple of scenes were missing.
Well, I wonder whether it was a case of, they were filming out on location and they ended up overrunning with some of their filming just because they had the opportunity to take lots of lovely outsidey shots in. It's like, oh, we've overrun by a few minutes. Let's cut out these scenes that explain what happened to the bag and the laptop.
Nobody watches this show. Maybe they could have cut out Debbie looking for her Jasmine.
Yeah. Anyway, Abby comes into the room later and throws Kevin out, and because she's worried because she's hid this money bag.
Well, she's like, now you've tipped him off.
Yeah. Well, she's worried that Kevin has found the bag of money. And to be honest, Kevin did a pretty rubbish job of raiding the room without finding the bag of money, to be honest.
It would have been interesting if he had found it.
Yeah. But anyway, he didn't, so she's in the clear at the time, for the time being.
This is when she looked at her bag of... Carl's bag.
A money newspaper mix.
Yeah.
So then Carl comes back to the room and Abby is like, what was going on earlier? Did you hit Tyrone with your car? Are you going off to Germany's? And he's immediately like, yes, I am. And there seemed to be very little in terms of, oh, Abby, I'm so sorry. Or it just doesn't work out. Yeah, he just goes straight into panto villain mode,
and throws the laptop on the floor.
He's like... He's like, yes, well, I have got Jack's laptop here. I throw it on the floor. What an evil villain I am. And he says, go and beg for forgiveness for Kevin if he's so great. I had fun with you once when it was forbidden, but now you're getting a bit dull, actually. I'm fed up with childcare and herbal tea.
So am I.
Off you go. So she storms out. And then, is that the last that we see of her? I think that's the last we see of her for the episode. Then we get a little brief moment of respite and fun with Debbie and the girls in the toilets, just about all the men in there willy waving, as Debbie puts it. And now she can't remember her dance moves. I was a little bit gutted that we didn't get to see the dance. Maybe that's going to be Monday.
Maybe they have to cut that out as well.
Well, look, the end of this episode surely isn't the end of the night, because the last scene of it is Debbie coming to see Carl in his room and saying, what was all that about earlier? And he then says, well, what's all this about? And this is when he shows her the screwed up post-it note saying, call Elaine, and it's ticked off. So he says, you've been to see my mum. Why did you lie to me about it? And Debbie's kind of flustering and saying, well, you saying yourself she wasn't really interested in you. Why would she want to speak to you? Why would you want to speak to her? And then he's like, you robbed me of the chance of saying goodbye to my mum, and storms out with poor old Debbie in tears. Possibly, but not quite, about to reveal the massive Webster family secret. And then that's the end of the episode. And we paused it about 45 seconds before the end, didn't we? Not realising how close we were to the end. It's like, oh, damn it, they're not going to reveal it, are they? But even they could have had him like storming out, slamming the door closed, and Debbie saying, I'm your mum. And then go into the credits.
Yeah.
No, wrong credits, Gemma.
Oh.
Maybe that reveal is going to be for Monday. But yeah, anyway, I'm thinking it's looking like Monday's episode and Corriedale is going to be set that evening. Because I don't think the characters are all like, anyway, I better go to bed now. It feels like there's more that needs to be said. So I'm hoping that we'll get to see more hotel scenes. Hopefully the first dance between Debbie and Ronnie, which, to be honest, she just needs to do a solo number in the middle of.
We're not going to do any predictions, are we, for Corriedale? Because I don't think we're really allowed.
No, we're allowed. I just don't want to. I just don't want to look ahead knowing what spoilers, what little spoilers we do and don't know from the trailers.
Any speculation would be based on information.
Yeah, well, also as we were saying earlier, if the actual there's quite a lot of details about Corriedale out there, as the rumours say. Yeah. I don't want to make it, if we get it right, make it look like we've looked at them. I don't want to look like an idiot if we get it wrong. But anyway.
When do we care about that?
Maybe you're right. But that was really, really lovely episode that was unfortunately let down by some things that just weren't quite explained well enough for me. But it didn't detract from the overall joyousness of the occasion with Debbie. And interested to know where it's going to go next. I suppose this is another reason why, surely Monday's episode has got to be set on Friday, because otherwise Carl will have missed his plane. Like, are we going to have a mad dash to the
We don't want him to miss his plane.
So I think that's what we're looking out for. Todd Langsyne next is the story, Gemma. Do you want to have a little rundown about what poor old Toddington has been getting up to this week? He's been he's had a bit of a rough time on Monday and Tuesday, hasn't he? Bless him.
I can only try.
You're doing a very good job. Gemma is proper poorly today, but
we've had to pause so many times.
I don't remember how last time we paused this many times in the recording so you could blow your nose. But let's see what we can manage with this.
Right, so it's Glenda's birthday, but George's birthday is coming up in the new year.
She's turned 50.
And he's turning
Looking
60.
Good for it, I'd say.
Both of them are very beautiful.
George is turning 60 in the new year, so they decide to have a joint party together.
No, they don't. They don't.
It is decided for them.
Glenda wants a quiet one. Nick and Toya are getting everything ready in the bistro, but Glenda's decided to surprise everybody by doing a double party.
Right.
And Todd's been invited. Lots of people have been invited. But Todd and Summer are there, because who wouldn't want them to be at your party? They are party people. Yeah. And he says again, thanks for the tickets. And she's like, I just wanted to spend more time with you. So he offers to take her into town to find a present for George. Why would she care? Christina is zhuzhing up the bistro for George's party, because she wants to make it as perfect as possible. She's completely taking it over. Yeah,
basically, this isn't particularly part of the Todd story, but it's also not big enough to be a story on its own. What we get is the party gets completely, like you said, take over and hijacked by the George party, and Glenda ends up getting somewhat miffed by the occasion when it's not even his birthday yet.
No, exactly.
Fair play to her.
Yeah. So, Billy's like, Summer, when you was talking to Todd, what's going on? How is he? I'm worried. And she's like, no, he's fine.
She and Betsy just need to have an oblivious contest, don't they? So which of those can pick up as few clues as possible.
Yeah.
About the mega dramas that are going on out just, within their lives.
They won't even notice Corriedale happened.
Yeah, they probably won't.
What are you talking about? Right, so George turns up and Glenda is a bit miffed because he's the centre of attention. And Nick is talking to Todd about a new running route by the canal, and Theo's glaring because Sarah tells him that Nick was Todd's first crush, so he does not want him talking to him. So Theo corners Todd and says, "Look, stop flirting with Nick." Yeah,
wrong move, Todd. Yeah. Hey, we all remember that.
And then it turns out that there isn't a cake because Glenda didn't want one, but Christina insists there should be one. So Theo volunteers that he and Todd will go and get one. So they go on location.
Yes, that was up by Trafford Park again. It seems like, at the moment, if they want to go, unless they're proper pushing the boat out like they did with the wedding, if they just want some random streets, they're going to Trafford Park, because we saw it earlier this year when Carl was driving that car that would go on to hit Carl. He was... Tyrone, sorry. He was tearing down the street there, and this was literally just up the road from that, and also it was just up the road from where Becky ended up having Carla in the boot earlier, wasn't it? Yeah. So they do like that location a bit.
It's because we reminded them it existed with our special video. So they're bickering about Nick as they leave the bakery, and then Theo's like, you know what, find your own way home, I don't want to look at you. And he leaves them in the dark. He doesn't have his phone, he doesn't have his coat, and it's raining.
Yeah, so this is why... they could have done it at Rutland's Bakery, couldn't we? Because there's no real idea about how close that's supposed to be to to Coronation Street, but I'll never say no to a location shoot.
Well, Todd said it's miles.
I liked how, because we've been looking at the Canal Street scenes again this week for various end of year things, and when Theo bumps into Owen reels off some of the things that Theo did to him when they were together in a relationship. And one of them reminded me of this, but it wasn't exactly the same, because Owen says that I ran off away from home once and I didn't have my coat on, I didn't have my shoes on, and it was raining. So he also got, it was him trying to get away from Theo, which makes it a little bit different. But some of the other things were like, he was saying, you were gaslighting me, you were making me apologise all the time, you were accusing me of being drunk, which is Theo has been doing to Todd a lot recently. So it's it's
controlling how much he can drink.
Yeah, so it literally looks like he's going back to the exact same techniques, I suppose, that he used on Owen back on Theo, on Todd again.
Yeah,
nasty man.
So,
poor old Todd is left to fend for himself. Not overnight, though, because, as we say, Tuesday's episode was set on the same day, so could have been worse.
So Sean's talking to Glenda why she's not enjoying it, and she says, look, I'm just not in the mood, because life's not exactly how I expected it to turn out. Like, I'm a bit lonely. I think this ties back into what she was asking Debbie about, regretting not having children.
Yeah, it might have been, actually. You're right, it was Debbie that Glenda that said that. I'm thinking it's kind of possibly sowing the seeds for something in 2026. You got to be really careful when you get to this time of year and you watch Corrie, because characters will say things that will then turn into something in the next year, won't they?
Yeah.
Sometimes they're a bit red herringy, but yeah, potential story for Glenda getting a man next year. Who knows? Maybe.
He says, oh, you made my life so much better. You're fabulous. Let's just dance. And...
Yeah, well, if this is turning into a Glenda story for next year, then I say let's have Sean in it as well, because those two are great together, I think. Not about if it's a romance, but...
He's already had a baby pact with one straight woman. Why not a second one?
Yeah, I mean, she's 50, but as we've seen from Charity in Emmerdale this week...
When you're at your most fertile in soaps.
Yeah.
So Theo arrives with the cake and Billy's like, well, where's Todd? And Theo lies and says he's having a bit of a lie down. Billy's very suspicious, but Theo brushes him off.
Yeah, he ends up going for a dance with someone, doesn't he, to avoid any more of Billy's questions.
He also talks to Summer about, oh look, sorry, we couldn't cancel that event because of the Andrew Scott thing. Can't you find someone else to go with you? And she's like, oh, I guess so, but it's not really my thing. It was really Todd's thing. And Billy comes over because he's found Todd's phone in Todd's jacket, and he says, well, he's going to need this, I better go and take it to him. And Theo says, no, he's going to be fine without it. And then we cut to Todd walking down the street, and it reminded me of in Hocus Pocus when Billy Bones is walking down after having climbed out of his grave, and he's walking along and he's being showered with dirt as he's walking.
Oh, yeah. It was a little bit like when the bride comes out the coffin in Kill Bill 2.
It's a better comparison.
Except she wasn't quite so damp there, was she?
No, they were both dusty, actually. So Billy leaves the bistro and he happens to see Todd walking down the street, completely soaked, looking very sorry for himself. He puts his coat on him, and Todd's lying and saying, oh, I just went for chips, it's fine.
This is the bit where Billy tells Todd that his hands are freezing when he hasn't even touched them. He's got very keen powers of observation, does Billy?
Yeah, you can tell by looking.
Well, he's the only person that's really noticed what's going on between Todd and Theo anyway. Apart from, actually, Christina. If only Billy and Christina got their heads together, I think they'd be able to figure him out.
Well, he says, oh, your lips are turning blue. And Todd says, oh, look, I was drunk earlier, like Theo said. And Billy's like, you weren't, you didn't drink that much. What's going on? And Todd admits that he and Theo had a bit of a tiff at the party, and he went for a walk to clear his head. And he starts telling Billy it's none of his business. And it's like, Theo has just these expectations about the relationship. And Billy says, here you go, take this key to my flat for next time in case you need it.
Yeah, so Todd is at this point saying what he knows Theo wants him to say, but there's that little bit inside of him that's getting him to purposefully give a few clues or admissions to Billy that things aren't all rosy.
Considering it's Todd, he's not very good at lying about this, but we're supposed to be able to see that he's being conflicted. So on Wednesday, Todd looks at Theo's phone, or is it Theo looks at Todd's phone? It's a missed call.
I don't think it matters at the end of the day. I don't think it turned into anything.
And Theo's like, again, love bombing him, saying, "Oh, we're gonna have a great year. Let's do some resolutions. Why don't you try harder to show affection when we're out and about?" You're Todd, and Todd says, "Yeah, okay. I thought you didn't want me to, but I will if you do." And then Theo says, I'll stop leaving my undies on the floor.
When we have our frequent rampant bonking sessions, I'll try and clean them up in the throes of passion.
He goes into the bedroom and he comes back out with having found Billy's key in Todd's pocket. He's like, "What is this? What have you got this for?" And Todd lies and says, "It's summer. It's for summer. I've got to give her this key." And Theo's like, "Oh, okay. I think our other resolution should be no more secrets."
Classic soap.
Like, it does look like he believes them.
Yeah.
So Eva tells Billy later that Todd was in the pub earlier and he seemed fine, and he booked a table for them for New Year's Eve. And Billy says, "Oh, in that case, I'll come if Todd's going to be there." So then he asks Alia, because she's there doing work, because she's so boring.
She's looking at a boring boundary dispute case, isn't she?
Yeah, she said she's doing a boring case, and both of us in our heads thought, boundary
dispute. Well, Billy says to her, "Look, we've had this story before, haven't we? I'm getting.
What happened in the other story?
What happened last time that we had a coercive control story in Coronation Street? You were involved in it, weren't you? Yasmin and Jeff aren't in it anymore, so I guess I better ask you."
Yeah, he says, "How did she know? How did Yasmin know?" And Alia says, "Yeah, we didn't know what was happening because it's like you're brainwashed, and abusers do that to you. They brainwash you and gaslight you." And Billy says, "Well, I think that's happening to one of my parishioners." And Alia says, you got to let them go their own pace, but I'll try and get you some more information. So Theo's out with Gary, so Todd comes to the pub alone, and he's happy to see George, Summer and Billy arrive. And then Billy takes him to one side and says, "I'm really worried about you. Are you okay?" And Todd says, "No, you've blown it out of proportion. Not all relationships are perfect, not like you and Paul." And he's also, as he's talking, Billy sees that Todd's nervously looking towards the door to see when Theo's going to come in. And so he says that I'm just here if you need me. So Theo eventually turns up and Todd gives him a big kiss and says, "We're going to start fresh 2026. And he gets down on one knee. And everybody freezes. Some people are very excited. Billy is horrified. There's a very long pause after Todd asks Theo to marry him. But Theo agrees. Everyone congratulates them. And Todd seems really insecure because he's not really sure if Theo wanted him to do that. And he wasn't actually planning on doing it then. He was going to wait till later.
I didn't know that this proposal was happening. I had no idea. I hadn't seen any previews of this. Did you see this one coming?
No, I didn't. But I'm also not going to buy a hat.
It seems
for this one.
We've spoken a lot about Todd's acceptance of this behaviour and not walking out, and it just boggles the mind. Even though I will say, if this is what really happens, is what really happens, but I just can't get behind. I can't see what would lead Todd to think this is the thing to do.
We've said before, if this is the only one you're listening to, you haven't heard us talk about this previously, but just to say, to criticise the way the story is told in this particular instance is not to say to criticise people in this situation. It's just, I still don't think that they're really helping me get inside Todd's head to understand truly. And I think sometimes it's easier with a woman, with a man and a woman, because you can show certain constraints that aren't present in the relationship that Todd and Theo have. Like, there's no reproductive coercion. Can't get him pregnant to make him stay. He can't say you can't leave the kids, or you're stuck here because there's nowhere for you to go because of the kids. He's not got no friends or support network, and he's also I've forgotten the other thing I was going to say, but there's a few more things that would make a woman stay in a situation like this, like being disadvantaged, like economically. Todd, as far as we know, has his old job back too. So he's not really dependent on Theo for money.
No.
But those are the reasons why sometimes people can't leave an abusive relationship. So in the absence of those elements, it's really a psychological hold that Theo has over Todd. And that's a really difficult thing to explain. And I'm not going to blame anyone if they're not getting it.
It's just utterly bonkers that Todd would think, I know what the best thing to do is here to propose, unless he literally is so blinkered. But we've seen that he's not. But if he was so blinkered to think, well, this will make everything okay then. Well, if we're married, then
yeah, but that's probably what he is thinking. That's not bonkers. That's just how he's been manipulated. But you can say that it doesn't feel to you as though they've demonstrated that level of manipulation.
Yeah.
And I think it's fair to say that's something you can argue. And I think the thing is, it's, even though I don't think people would agree with me saying this, I just think it's happened too quickly. Because I know lots of people think this is dragged on. But I think that maybe it feels more like it's a series of things that you just, your line gets pushed very slightly every time, and you accept something that you wouldn't have accepted like 3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
But this has happened so fast, it's gone very quickly to actual physical abuse, and the sort of societal constraints for not being able to leave aren't really there for Todd.
But it looks like, was it the end of Thursday's episode where Theo finds Todd's passport, which doesn't play into Friday's episode at all, actually, does it? So it looks like at some point this leave, Todd's possibly going to be doing a flit, maybe to go and see Eileen or something, but he still goes through a heck of a kick in himself first.
Again, this is not to say that people in abusive relationships don't have very real reasons why they don't leave. Because if it was so easy, there wouldn't be a problem with that. I don't understand why people are so insistent on not understanding that even if you don't get it, it still happens. It's just kind of unfortunate that I don't feel as though this storyline really is letting us get inside Todd's head. Because even the fact that Todd's got this passport that we don't see him get is kind of mysterious. Why not let us inside his head to see a bit more about why? It's the same thing that's happening with Asher, because we only hear from Amy what Asher's thinking about her medication. We don't actually hear from Asher herself. Yeah. And it's strange because if why do a storyline about something with characters in a soap that you're supposed to know so well and then not actually get inside their heads properly? Abuse storylines are really hard to do though, because you can't talk to anyone about it, because you don't. That's the whole point of the abuse, is that you get isolated. So the fact that Billy is able to talk to Todd about it, I feel like this would be the very, very beginnings of the abuse situation, and then Todd would completely deny it, and then he would reject Billy himself, because he would think that Billy's trying to sabotage his relationship or tell him things he doesn't want to hear. And then he would be the one who cut off ties with Billy. But he's been kind of doing that for a while. I think there are some really good elements of here.
I'm still enjoying the story. I don't have... Yeah, I still think it's one of the strongest stories of the year, for sure.
I don't see how they can... I don't know what they can do any differently, because...
Well, I think that by the end of the week, it has taken a massive, massive step forward, hasn't it?
Maybe what they needed to do was not have him reconcile with George and Christina and get a job and things, because it's much easier to understand why somebody doesn't leave. And that's not to say that that's the only reason, or that if you don't have those reasons that you're wrong for staying at all. I don't read that into it. It's just, if you're trying to show somebody in a soap who literally has never had an experience of this or seen it happen to anybody else, it's really difficult to understand how this the manipulation works. It's much easier when you can see the mechanisms in front of your face, like, oh, I see, he literally cannot leave because of X, Y, and Z. Whereas instead you're thinking, oh, he can't leave because it's his own, his something inside of him has psychologically been broken by Theo. It's not his fault, but it's really hard to understand.
It is hard to understand. Then when he gets down on one knee, it just makes it all the more difficult, I think.
You wouldn't be the only person thinking. But again, it's if only there had been a point where he had said to like Billy, as soon as we get married, it'll be fine. Yeah. Like, it's just because he's insecure. Like, I think that's probably what he's thinking. Like, Theo's just really insecure about the relationship because he's never been in a relationship like this before, and if I just show him I love him so much, I want to marry him, and I do what he's told me to do, then it'll all be okay. But again, we know it won't be because that's just not how this goes.
Yeah.
But as far as that's concerned, do you think that makes sense to you now?
No, I think so. And I don't think that we're going to have, say, much longer to be seeing. It's just kind of a repeat, cyclical, which I know these things are, but a lot of it feels like, Theo's being horrible to him. Todd looked like he's going to leave. He doesn't. Theo love bombs him, and it's just round and round in circle. And as much as realistic as it is, possibly, I don't know, that's what we're being told, it does feel a little bit kind of been there, done that with it. But I think by the end of the week we're moving on. So
they've got to balance what is a realistic portrayal of abuse and manipulation and coercion with what the audience is going to tolerate.
I can't remember how far Yasmin and Jeff were into their story when they went off to Vegas for their wedding. It felt like we knew that Jeff was absolutely an abuser by the time that happened. Yeah. But that was a bit of a surprise wedding, wasn't it? Because I think they just went off there and they came back married. So anyway, look, let's get back to the synopsis.
So Billy's like, look, Todd, are you sure that you want to do this? And Todd says, yes, I do. I definitely do. Then Alia takes Billy to one side and says, look, I thought about it a bit more, and what I think you could do is use Claire's law. You can get information from the police about Theo and his previous abuse in other relationships.
And of course Theo is listening into this.
Theo is listening in and doesn't really like the sound of that. And I think we mentioned Claire's law.
Oh, we did. Claire's law was 100% brought up during the Yasmin storyline.
So it's named after Claire Wood, who was murdered by her domestic partner, and the police knew that he was dangerous. So the law gives members of the public, including a domestic partner, the right to ask for information and the right to know, which is the police can disclose so you can ask the police, but the police can also tell you. So the police can just come up to you and go, right, you're in this relationship with this guy or this woman.
Is it that Todd can go to the police and say, has my partner previously been abusive, or can Billy go to the police and say it?
Billy can as well, because it says it allows members of the public, including a domestic partner.
Okay.
It's a very good law. It's a very good law. Yeah, I think he needs to get on that. Theo's listening in, and as the clock strikes 12, he corners Todd and asks him, what have you been saying to Billy? I've overheard some very interesting things. And Todd says, I didn't say anything about it.
Which he hasn't, has he?
No.
Todd's not been saying,
Todd's
I'm being abused.
Told Billy, nothing's going on. Yeah. Nothing's going on.
He gave a few hints, like I said the other day, when he said, sometimes Theo wants things a certain way. But yeah.
Well, that's more of an excuse than a hint.
Yeah, Todd isn't lying when he says, I've not called you an abuser for Billy.
No, and Theo says, you embarrassed yourself earlier, didn't you, with that performance, getting down on one knee. Everything's got to be about you. Pathetic.
Well, he goes into that.
He can't win.
He goes into that more on Thursday, doesn't he? When he accuses Todd of treating him like he were a woman. I thought that was a really good speech. And it goes in a creepy speech. It was like, you utter arse, Theo, because Theo overhears them talking about what was it?
Well, look,
Theo asks Billy about this woman with an abusive partner, and then go on.
Summer and Billy bring pastries to Todd's flat, and Billy's keeping his eye on Theo, and Theo overheard this conversation about Claire's law, and so he says to Billy, what's this abusive partner you're talking about? This is a woman, isn't it? And Billy's like, I can't really tell you. I can't really talk about it. And Todd says, it made me realise how lucky I am. And oblivious Summer is like, these were great pastries. I might bring some round to Betsy. So they leave. And Billy says to Todd, you can tell me about anything you need to. When they're gone, because Summer spilled tea everywhere, Theo makes Todd clean it up. And then this is when he says, oh, you think I'm a woman? Do you think I'm a woman? You treated me like one, getting down on one knee. Summer's saying she wants to be a bridesmaid. Only brides have bridesmaids. And it's like internalized homophobia and misogyny.
Yeah. Because I imagine that, again, this is...
His insecurity.
Yeah, it's total insecurity. And if he's been worried about being gay all this time, and maybe people have accused him of being effeminate, I don't know, or maybe he's worried that people might accuse him of being effeminate, whereas he kind of has gone totally the opposite way and has got his big bulky man arms, and
he's not a lady.
Nobody's accusing him of being a lady or effeminate or anything like that.
Ladies don't have big arms.
It's him again, He's
projecting.
Not to excuse him, but
no,
he's got reason. He's not just coming up with anything. He's just clearly why damaged himself.
Yeah, just because you know why somebody does something doesn't mean that you agree with the reasons, but you do need to understand why they're doing it.
Yeah, but I thought that was a really good scene. I enjoyed that. As difficult as it was to watch, it was a good scene, and the fact that it ended in that kicking on the floor as well.
Makes you wonder how much of that came from the conversion therapy as well. Like them saying, oh, you want to be a woman?
Yeah, I wonder actually.
It's in the Bible. It doesn't say anything about...
Yeah, that's a really good point.
It says don't do that.
I was really pleased that Todd did a runner after this. Not that it lasted for too long, but seeing him getting up later and kind of hobbling out the flat door while Theo's back was turned, I was like, go on, Todd, you go.
So he gets...
Billy.
He pushes him... Theo pushes Todd over and kicks him. It's really vicious and horrible. And then we have a break, and then afterwards Theo's apologising, saying, I didn't mean to, you're alright, I don't know what happened. Why'd you make me do it? And then the phone rings and he gets caught out by whoever it is. And while he's distracted, Todd hobbles away. And then he comes back later and the flat's empty. He starts packing a bag in the living room because that's where you have to do it. Theo calls him and he ignores the phone call and fills his bag. Then he listens to the voice message from Theo and he's saying, oh, I can't live without you. I need you. I love you. I don't deserve you.
We were both
me.
thinking at this point, has Theo gone and slit his wrists in the bathroom or something, hadn't we?
Yeah, I thought
that was why the flat was empty, and there was going to be a message saying, oh, I've decided to end it all, and Todd was going to go and have to rescue him.
This is a very common tactic.
Yeah.
And I think that...
they didn't go that way.
Theo's sort of said it before, hasn't he? Because that's why Todd put the video cameras.
Yes.
So, Theo comes back and he's like, he's
been out, doesn't he? Yeah.
Oh, I'm not ready to give up on you yet, please. And he sees the packed bag and says, oh, you're not leaving without me. I love you. Why do you have to hurt me? Oh no. And then Todd's like, look, stop hurting me over and over again. And Theo's saying, no, we both did it. Bad things. We both behaved badly, but we belong together. And Todd says, well, I think we're bad for each other. And Theo says, no, we can get through it together. And he's saying, let's have a fresh start. Come with me to the wedding and we'll start over again.
Caught up in the romance of it.
And Todd's like, I can't pretend this hasn't happened. And eventually he relents and says, I'll go, but don't expect too much. And when they get to the hotel, which is the one that Debbie gets married in, Theo goes through Todd's bag and finds his passport, which he takes.
That was really jarring, having that last scene set in the hotel, wasn't it, in Yorkshire? We weren't expecting to see it at the end of Thursday's episode. But we did.
We did. So on Friday, Billy's driving the minibus. He leaves a message for Todd saying, I'll see you at the hotel. Theo's been controlling to Todd at the reception. He won't let him drink any champagne. He makes him drink orange juice. And then James bumps into Todd and spills drinks all over him. And Theo laughs it off and blames Todd for it. And Billy follows Todd to the loos where he's trying to wash his shirt. And he runs into the cubicle as Billy comes in and leaves his shirt there. And eventually he comes out of the cubicle and Billy can see he's got bruises all over him. Yeah,
because he left his shirt by the sink, didn't he? So he's bruised all over.
And he's saying, oh, it's, it's just as much me as it is him. So they go back to the hotel room and Todd shows him the video footage on the laptop of the attack that happened. And Billy's like, this isn't raw footage, it's been edited. And Todd says, I've got to go back to the party. So Billy opens the recycle bin and goes through every single video and watches it all.
Again, plot contrivance somewhat. It's obvious that Billy... I think it's not just Billy that would have noticed that this was an edited together video.
I don't think I would. I think I'm stupid and I would have not noticed.
Well, it had the timestamps on it, didn't it?
I guess so.
And Billy is looking for evidence. He wants to try and find something that's going to bring Theo down. So I'm not surprised that he found that. But yeah, it was quite convenient that he very quickly was able to find the deleted videos in the recycle bin. Like, could have done a bit better of a job with that.
Honestly, Theo, sloppy.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, it was 2 weeks ago, wasn't it? How often do you empty your recycle bin?
I don't, ever. So, Todd leaves and comes back to find Billy still engrossed in the footage. And Billy's like, look, I've reviewed the evidence and actually, newsflash, you're not as bad as Theo at all. You're being gaslit and you pushed him in self-defence. This is not love. You don't deserve this. And that's as far as we get.
Yeah, so Todd still hasn't realised that his passport's been gone. But there's no way back. Billy cannot let Todd return to Theo at this point, can he?
I mean, the question is, why does Todd have his passport and why... obviously, they're not planning a trip because Theo looked for it, found it and took it.
I think we've seen clues of Todd wanting to escape but not being able to bring himself to commit to it a number of times now. But
my question is then, why is he still making excuses for Todd, for Theo to Billy? Because in most cases of abuse, you can't get away because you have no support and you can't tell anybody and maybe they don't believe you or they don't take you seriously. Whereas if Todd just went, yeah, you're right, then it very much reminds me of Sean's homelessness. Maybe it's based on a true thing that happens to people, and the way that it happens is so completely different from the way that it gets portrayed on the show. It just doesn't feel like... It feels like they're putting themselves in this situation, which is not how abuse works.
Maybe Todd brought the passport along with him as a just in case. There's just this little bit inside of him that's saying, if I need to escape, if he does it to me again, I'll stick with him as long as he doesn't do it again. But if he does, then I'm going to have my passport with me.
Yeah, that's a good...
But yeah, Billy now, if they go back to Weatherfield and he's like, off you go, see it, get in touch with me if you need to, off you go and stay with it. He can't. It's his kind of vicarly duty, I would say, at this point, to stop them having anything to do with each other. He couldn't. He needs. Yeah, he just can't.
So his asking about Claire's law, the thing that relies on is the police having knowledge of previous violence and encounters, and this is why a lot of the times, even though it's not that simple, and I totally understand why people don't do it. A lot of the times people say, even if you don't want to go through with a prosecution or a court case, tell the police there's something happened to you, because then there's a trail of evidence. And then if a woman says or a man says something about somebody later down the line, the police can go, this sounds like it could be, this is a pattern of behaviour, we can see a record of this. There wouldn't be any... Like, if Owen never told the police what happened to him that day, there's nothing that Claire's law can tell Billy.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Well, if I was Billy at this stage, I would be taking a copy of this video and uploading it to the cloud, just because I know what happens on Coronation Street if there's only one copy of one video. But whether Billy's done that or not, I don't know. But well, I am very, very, very keen to see what happens in this story on Monday. I'm somewhat excited to find out what happens with Carl, but I think the next step in this story... This is the one that I'm most excited to find out what happens next in Monday's episode. I'm going
to say, if I was Billy, I wouldn't be there. I'd be eating the free food, because I am a bit of a fan of free food.
Even, what do you do that night? There's not even a case of going back to Weatherfield. I'd be saying to Todd, you can't sleep in the same room as this guy tonight. You got to come back to my room.
Yeah, but Todd wouldn't go with him. That's what makes this so hard.
Then I would probably, if I was Billy, and I knew, and I'd seen that with my eyes, I'd be doing a Kevin and shouting it from the rooftops about what an abuser Theo is and saying, look, here's my video evidence. I've actually got the right video this time.
Yeah, but then what happens... Yeah, I know what you mean. And you feel like you can solve the problem by doing that, but you can't. It just doesn't work like that way because Todd would then not go along with it. He'd disagree with you, say it was 50-50. And then what would happen is everybody would have seen this big commotion. They would have seen Todd going, no, Theo's not like that. And then any time that anything looked remotely dodgy, people would be saying to themselves, well, look, Todd said it's fine. It's his own fault then. If he's gone back to him and he knows what he's like, I'm not helping, he's brought this on himself. That's what happens. People get shunned and ostracised because people don't understand why they're, inverted commas, accepting the treatment that they're getting. It's really complicated. There's no magic wand.
There isn't.
And you have to be able to do it yourself. It's like you can't, nobody else really can help. I don't know, they can help you, but you have to, you're the one that has to get yourself out of the situation, I think.
But anyway, Monday for that particular storyline, particularly with, a few of the nuggets of information that I have about future Coronation Street, I'm very excited about what's going on there.
All I'll say is that whether or not we understand, whether or not it makes sense to us watching how Todd's reacting to this is kind of by the by, because if this is anything like what happened with Jeff and Yasmin, people are going to watch this and go, oh God, this is happening to me, or this is happening to my friend, or this is happening to my daughter, or this is happening to my mum. People, or my brother or my best friend, people are going to see this happening and know it's not right. And that's kind of one of the reasons to do a story like this. And I know that I criticise things that are cancer stuff because I hate watching it. And some people who've been through really traumatic things hate watching it too. Because I remember somebody moaning at us on Twitter about rating an episode that had Todd and Theo have violent, be violent to Theo be violent to Todd. They're like, why you can't rate this? This isn't, entertainment. But it's part of a programme that entertains and educates. And it's really important that Coronation Street is able to do these things, whether we enjoy watching them necessarily or not. If it saves somebody's life or gets somebody out of an abusive relationship, it kind of feels like worth doing.
Yeah, no, I couldn't agree more. Right. But third and final big story of the week was the old Lang Swains stuff. And again, things are starting to move a little bit there. Carla's still in her cupboard at the beginning of the week. They're in the closet and talking about, me and Lisa, we had some wine last night. We had a lovely evening, actually. And Carla says, look, the only reason that you got Lisa at the moment is because I'm locked up in here. But you see who she chooses when I get out. And you're only choosing me. She's only choosing you, Becky, because I'm locked up here. And then Becky gets in a bit of a paddy, doesn't she? And chucks a plate at Carla, saying, you ruined my life. And then gags her up again.
You ruined your own life by going to Spain.
Have you seen the comments online of people noticing that the way that Carla's hands are tied in front of her, she could very easily reach up and remove the gag from her mouth at any point?
Let's. I mean, maybe she's...
We're not ones to pick holes in Coronation Street, though, so we wouldn't mention that.
I think Carla's enjoying it. I think she just she misses the old days of being held hostage.
Yeah, just taking it back,
look,
isn't it?
At least I'm one of the main stories.
Meanwhile, you got Sarah trying to sort out factory stuff that Carla left, and she's going through her diary and sees Hill and rhubarb written down there, and thank goodness we got an answer to that this week. Kit says that this is what Carla got from Costello, but he just can't work out what it means. So he's seeing Betsy later and saying, have you heard about how Carla's doing in Lanzarote? She doing okay, is she? And she says, well, she seemed fine enough on Christmas Day. And she's at some hotel somewhere, Rhubarb Hill Hotel. And this makes Kit even more suspicious. So, and I got utterly baffled by this point.
I love the idea that we're supposed, the ruse is that, this is an accidental confusion. But the idea that Costello's on his deathbed going to Carla, if you go to Lanzarote, make sure you go to the Rhubarb Hill Hotel.
I hear it's got great ratings. See, No, we'll get there when we get there. So anyway, Kit phones up this Rhubarb Hill hotel, and I was watching this scene going, what?
You were so confused by this, and I was saying
it's because there's been so much in Corrie recently where I'm going, they haven't explained that well enough. But I'm going, so there is a Rhubarb Hill hotel? Oh, what a coincidence. There actually is one.
You have to watch the whole episode before you say you don't understand something.
Yes. Well, what's happened, we find out, is that one of Becky's contacts, this mystery person who we still have got no idea who they are, has clearly thrown this website for the hotel together in an attempt to trick anyone trying to track down Carla.
See, this is
like quite a, maybe they just use, well, we should be sponsored by Squarespace, Gemma, because this would be the perfect opportunity to us to drop an advert about how easily and quickly you can throw together a professional looking website in seconds.
Even Kirk can do it.
Even whoever this is that Becky's, I'm taking it's nobody that we know, and
it will never be,
or someone related to Curtis. I don't know.
But yeah, I was going to say something and I forgot.
Don't worry, it's fine. So anyway, they've gone together. They've gone to the trouble of making a hotel website for Kit to phone up, get an engaged tone with.
No, he actually gets somebody there, and they say, "Oh, she's not in."
Oh, yes, they do, don't they?
And he says, "Oh, what? Yeah, the blonde woman," and they're like, "No, can't catch me, baby. I know she's got brown hair."
Yeah, very, very.
She likes
clever ruse, I guess.
She's got brown hair, and she's got her hands tied in front of her, and
anyway,
she lives in a cupboard.
Anyway, Becky is back in her flat at this point, and she opens up her cupboard, but because Carla was very sneaky with a bit of broken plate earlier, she was able to cut herself free, springs out at Becky, knocks her out cold on the coffee table. So that's quite an exciting end to the Monday episode, but... And this is partly where my criticism of the splitting of the episode to put it on Monday and Tuesday was. The pacing just dries up on Tuesday's episode, and before you know it, Becky's up on her feet again, slamming Carla against the wall, and now she's got the upper hand. So it was a proper break time cliffhanger that was very quickly resolved, and I'd hoped that things were moving on quickly, and they just went back to the way they were again.
It was epic. It was like Kirk versus Spock.
Not that Kirk.
No.
I thought you were still talking about Sutherland.
It'd be funny.
Or are you suggesting that Kit's secret spy is actually Captain Kirk?
No.
No, that'd be silly. Anyway, so Carla's back in the cupboard again, or something.
Yeah.
Kit's still looking over this website, and he's like, you know what, this is looking really basic. Can't even book a holiday on it when I tried to. And then when I looked on maps, there's just a building site there. Sarah says, look, don't worry, there's probably an explanation for it all. That's probably just...
They're probably building it.
They're probably building it.
Dummy.
Exactly when this satellite picture was taken. Don't worry about it.
Tell you what, if he's anything like me, he can find Lisa's cottage on a website for Cotswolds households and locate it all the way in Spain.
Exactly.
So if they've got pictures there of another hotel that they've used, then watch out. First image search.
I think that Sarah's reaction here was probably quite believable, even though we were there going, God, come on, kid.
What's the alternative? Somebody kidnapped Carla and made a fake hotel website to throw you off the track. That's stupid. And then they paid money for Google to put it on the first page when you search Rhubarb Hill.
Yeah, that's true. I suppose it's a good job that it was a very obscure name, wasn't it? It wasn't just called like,
the Savoy.
The Grand or
the Grand Lanzarote Hotel.
Yeah. But anyway, so Carla's getting tied back up in the cupboard again and now being denied her medication. And Becky's decided that Carla's going to just be left to rot there without kidney medicine. And Carla's like, no, you haven't got it in you. But she says, well, let's see what happens. Let's let nature take its course.
I don't have to kill you. I'll just leave you here to die.
So Becky heads back home and Lisa notices that she's looking a little bit iffy, and then she promptly collapses because, hey, somebody else needs a little medical scene there at the hospital just to take up a little bit of time, which nothing particularly happens with, does it?
What's your name, patient?
Yes, she doesn't get asked her name, and I think we do see on the board behind her bed there's a blank spot where the character's name would usually be.
Maybe it's one of these awkward situations where you say to somebody, what's your name? And they're like, and you're like, no, sorry, could you say that again? And they're like, that. I assume
that you're not obliged to give your name.
Can you write this down? Of course you have to, because you don't... or just because the NHS is free when you access it doesn't mean it is free. it all goes through your NHS number and your name.
Are you saying that there's a little plot hole here that this wouldn't have really happened this way?
No, she says, I'm Kimberly Swain.
No, I don't think that she did.
No, I know she didn't.
Oh.
But that's her. Surely they've got some... Surely when she was undercover, she had a name.
An identity. Oh, I don't know.
You can imagine if she was in the middle of Curtis's gang, like they had a shootout and then they got taken to the hospital and they were like, what's your name? And she was like, Becky Swain. Don't tell anybody. My name's DC Becky Swain.
Look, I don't know. Becky's woken up and said, "Oh, I was attacked by Curtis's lot. I don't know who's the most useless, Curtis's lot or Harvey's lot. Literally, we started off the year with these invisible gangsters, and we've concluded it with another pair, haven't we?
They're like bed bugs. You never see them, but they're always getting you when you're asleep.
Causing mischief." Becky at least uses this as an opportunity to say, well, we need to get out of here right now. I think it's Betsy that brings it up, and Becky's like, yes, we do need to go to Spain as soon as possible. So,
I just can't, it just seems like they're honestly, they're being so wet about it. Like, do you think that this is really happening or not? Because if you really believe what she's saying, you wouldn't even still be here. You wouldn't stay in your house. You'd go somewhere else. And you'd also say to her, listen, you bonkers dead cow, stop appearing, stop walking around wearing the same outfit. Have you heard of a hat? She's heard of a balaclava.
We get that on Thursday, don't we?
But like, make a tiny bit of effort. You're doing this, like, hate victim blaming, but you bringing this on yourself at this point.
So Lisa and Betsy catch Becky on Wednesday in the middle of doing a runner and says, "No, look, you need to get back into bed. You've not been disclosed yet." No, what's it called?
Charge.
That's the word. And Becky says, "Look, we need a new name, new identity for our Spanish flit now."
My name's Arriba Flamenco.
Doctor comes and says, "You just need a CT scan, and if it's okay, you can go." And it turns out that it is. So that was a bit of a pointless scene. So this is when the plot takes up a gear, doesn't it? Because Kit's in the corner shop, and says, "So Asher, do you know anything about Rhubarb Hill?" When Costello was being transported by this police officer the other day, in the ambulance, apparently he said it, and Ash is like, "No, I don't know, but I'll go there and find out."
He says, this is kind of a dumb question, because it's not like you know the person who was in the ambulance, because that's ridiculous. Like, I don't know every police officer in Weatherfield, you don't know every paramedic. But do you know the person who was in? She's like, actually, yeah, she's my mentor.
Yes, so she calls Kit from the hospital later and says, "Well, yeah, Sienna's just told me about this odd police officer seeing Costello, and after she left, he just kept repeating Rhubarb Blessing Hill all the time, so I don't know what that was about." And Kit says, "Eureka! It's time for me to move on this plot a little bit further by suddenly realising out of nowhere this must be a What 3 Words location. Of course it is."
Well, everybody's been trying to plug this in to What 3 Words for...
Yeah, a few of the fans have also come up with the same conclusion, haven't they?
But they were looking on the wrong site, weren't they?
They were supposed to be any old words.
I love whoever came up with that. I love that. Anyoldwords.com.
I don't get this.
Why?
Why doesn't Costello just tell Carla the address? Why add this mystery other than to tantalise and make us viewers realise? Surely, if he'd have just told her the address, and I know he only had 3 words to give, but give the first 3 words of your address, and you're more likely that she's going to uncover. if he says, like, I don't remember what the address was now, 3 Church Street. She's more likely to go, right, okay, I've got something to go with there.
She's like, what do you mean? Oh. What does that mean? Street? 3? Which order does it go in?
Exactly. But, I mean, apparently Carla did find it out, which is how she uncovers the flat in the end.
She's like, are you just saying any old words?
Oh, hang on a minute. Any old words? I haven't heard of that website. It felt like a mystery for the viewers and not something that Costello would actually say.
He was confused, but I would think in your confusion, remembering the What 3 Words address of your house.
Well, Asher's like, "Oh, we sometimes use that website to track down where we need to drive an ambulance to." I mean, did the police use this? I don't know, maybe they do. Yeah. But I think they're more likely to give an actual address. And also, the thing with these What 3 Words or whatever is that it gives you a topographical location, doesn't it? This is a flat. So surely this would have would have found a building.
When you said this blew my mind.
But which floor? Which flat? This could have been a high rise of like 40 flats. And it's like, I know it's in there somewhere. It doesn't tell you in, 3-dimensional space where something is. That would be what 4 words,
what
surely.
What a crock of rubbish. I'm just looking to see if I can see. Oh.
What?
Clash, dress, oldest is one of the 3 words for Lisa and Carla's house. Caves, army, flute. Needed, paid, direct. That's a pretty good one. Mops, bubble, flight. Risky Valley, remit.
Ooh.
Then fame, luxury.
Well, that's talking about Vicky Myers, isn't it?
And this is the most hilarious one. Literally over their kitchen, I think. Birds, dine, mash.
Oh.
Which is what they're always having for dinner.
Yeah. Anyway, I think that it seems to me like this was some, and I don't want to criticise the story writers.
Oh, here we go.
Feels like they were saying,
why don't you do it then?
What if Costello says it as a code and they have to work the code out? But to me, it doesn't make sense that he said it in a code. But anyway.
But it's fun, though.
Humberfield Road is where it is. So
it's harder to say than Rhubarb Hill Blessing.
And also, no, I'm not going to say it. I'll get in trouble for criticising things. No, I'm not going to say it.
You can tell me later.
Okay, I'll tell you later. I've probably told you at the time. Anyway, the code leads Kit to Carla's flat.
I like
a
bit of intrigue. It's a bit of intrigue in it. It's just a bit of fun. It's just soap. It's just a soap.
So he goes to the closet and he opens the door. This was a great moment, actually. I did love him opening the door and then it cutting to like the sideways view of Lisa opening up the boot, a little bit like The Bride with Sophie Vitale at the end of Kill Bill 2. Kill Bill's getting 2 call-outs and we didn't even go and see the full bloody affair at the cinema the other week like we wanted to. Anyway, we don't see Carla in the boot. In fact, we didn't see Carla at all this week, did we? Apart from those fake Instagram posts. Oh, no, we did. Sorry, of course we did.
We saw her bashing
We were talking about
Becky.
her earlier. Since then, we didn't see Carla at all. So there's some blood on some sheets, I think is all we see inside.
Now varnish,
but we don't know what Becky's done with Carla. And at the end of the week, we still don't know what she's done with Carla. But it seems like she's hell-bent on disappearing off to Spain. So she's left her somewhere, hasn't she?
If this wasn't a soap, if this was just a normal show, she'd be dead. But she's Carla Connor.
Carla is not dead.
They can't kill off Carla Connor without us even seeing it happen.
No. Carla is not dead.
They can't even do a flashback of it, so...
Well, have you got any theories about what might have happened to her? Like, she was taken... We see her outside this hotel in Trafford Park. Has she just been dumped in a lockup, or why not just leave her at the flat? Because she wasn't to know that Kit was going to come to the flat. I was about to say that.
How did Becky know to move her out the flat? Maybe she's moving her somewhere that's more secure than a cupboard.
I don't know. Had a chain on, didn't it? I'm not sure. And I also don't know how she's going to get out. Because everyone else is in Yorkshire at the moment. So unless Carla finds her own way out somewhere, unless she has done her whole bride on her and she's buried her alive and she's going to be 5-point palm, hand exploding out of the grave like the bride did. I don't know. I'd like to see that.
Or maybe what she'll do is maybe Becky's put her in a box, right? And what she'll do is
nobody puts Carla Connor in a box.
She gets a pen. She gets her hand out the box and she puts the 3 words for the factory on the side of it. Then she gets delivered and Kirk finds her.
Oh yeah, that's probably it. Isn't
Somebody
it?
finds a box with 3 words on it. They're like, well, I have to deliver this now, don't I?
I don't know. So I think I was all ready for Carla to kind of spring out of somewhere at the end of Friday's episode, but it's kind of more exciting that she didn't, because I'm definitely intrigued about that.
Maybe she's just being held hostage by Curtis's gang.
Maybe.
Didn't she end up being held hostage by some drug addicts that time? She had
I don't think she was held hostage.
She's hanging out with them.
Hanging out with them.
Maybe she's rekindled her friendship.
She might be with this mystery contact of Becky's, mightn't she?
Some computer nerd that's really good at making hotel websites.
Yeah, exactly.
And he's like, I can't let you go. Becky said Becky would kill me if I let you go.
I know who's good at making websites. Max. Didn't he make one for the factory once?
Yeah, maybe Becky.
He's got nothing better to do. Max could be Becky's.
Maybe Becky's dropped her off and been like, she's not even racist. And Max is like, well, train her up then. Train her up.
Right, what's going on? So Betsy back at number 6. Kit finds Carla's medicine packet, doesn't he? So that's the clue that she was maybe there. But he doesn't know for sure that that's what it is, and he doesn't do many tests on it. He has to go back the next day to find some hair.
If only I had some DNA on this medicine packet, because I do have Carla Connor's DNA on my computer.
And I am good friends with my DNA bloke who can expedite
DNA tests, and he also is not hungover at all.
Anyway, so back at number 6, Betsy's telling Lisa, look, we need to get to Spain as soon as possible. Every minute we stay here, the more danger we're in. She can see that she's upset about Carla and is saying, look, Mum, Carla's moved on. She dumped you. She obviously doesn't want to speak to you. Honestly, you're better off without her if that's how you're going to treat people. If that's how she's going to treat people. We should just go tomorrow. New Year's Day in the sun. It's going to be great, isn't it? Again, Betsy... I don't know, is it believable that she's
hasn't even done her project?
Is it believable that she's this... Does she just want to go to Spain so much that she's not caring as much about Carla or suspicious about Carla as she should be?
She hasn't got any real reason to doubt what her mum's saying.
No, I don't think so particularly.
I know that she's coming across as a bit of a dilly, but she's being put in a ridiculous situation, and... It's not like Lisa's saying, no, we shouldn't go to Spain at all. She's just putting it off. So if we're going to go to Spain, why don't we go now? What are we waiting for? We're waiting for a woman who's dumped you. Why? Look at... Mum's been in hospital because she got attacked. You're sitting around worrying about what Carla thinks. Carla's not here.
Who's busy posting on her Instagram what a best life she's living.
Yeah, she's fine. She's all right. We're in danger. Let's go to Spain.
Yeah, I don't think it's too bad. Anyway, the big cliffhanger at the end of this episode in this story is that Kit's done a bit of a search on the flat and found out that it belongs to Costello.
Yeah, what 3 deeds it was called.
Yeah. So, what?
That's a joke.
So, was that... What was the day was it Thursday that he goes to see Costello? It is, isn't it? Because that's Costello's flat that Becky's clearly... Has she been living in that?
Well...
At all? Or does she just have access to it?
Costello gave Carla the what 3 words address, and we didn't see this happen, but Carla tells Becky that she found it because of Costello's clues, went in there and found evidence that Becky is bent. So Costello was, even though he owns the flat... He's trying to get rid of Becky because of what Becky did to him. And so he told Carla how to find the flat to find the evidence. She's found the evidence now, and that's why Becky attacked her and hid her in the closet.
But on Thursday's episode, Kit goes and sees Costello, doesn't he? And he's a bit more with it. And Kit says, look, I went to the flat. Why did you want Carla to go there? And he
can't remember because he's got... concussion.
No, but I think he can remember because Becky's hiding in the cupboard. She's hiding in the toilet, isn't she? Yeah. So he's hiding the fact that she's there.
Because
is she working with him?
No, he's been threatened again by her, obviously.
Yeah.
He thought he had a chance to tell Carla, and it's all blown up in his face. And he's probably thinking, "I'll just cut my losses now. I don't care anymore."
But I wondered whether
I don't care about these crazy women.
But he didn't tell Carla how to get to this place so that Becky could attack her, did he?
No, he told her to find she could find the evidence because he knew that Becky would get him if she found out that he'd done it. But if Carla's found out herself, then it can't go back to him. I assume that was his thought process, but I don't think we're supposed to think about it too closely.
Okay.
All we know is that Costello he's not working with Becky. Becky's blackmailing him, and so he's doing what he can do with his limited abilities, knowing that she was breathing down his neck to try to get the information out, because I guess he thinks that this evidence is not going to implicate him. And maybe he thinks, or maybe there's an understanding between him and Carla, I don't know how, maybe he used Morse code with blinking, that if she finds any evidence that implicates him, just keep your bloody mouth shut. Even though the flat it was found in belongs to him. You obviously forgot about that bit.
So, next up in the episode, we've got, there's a little scene where they're still discussing whether they should go to Spain or not, and should we go now, should we wait till Carla's back? But the comedy highlight of the episode has to be Becky rocking up in the back garden of number 6 with her top-class disguise of a balaclava, because she's only got one identifying feature, and that's her spiky brown hair. And with that covered up, could be anybody.
She's forgot about her piercing blue eyes and her ridiculous coat.
It was the worst disguise I've ever seen. And I don't even know why she needed to be disguised particularly. Is it just in case somebody saw her doing it? Well, if that's going to be the case, then do it in the middle of the night then. So she went, and sorry, again, to criticise my beloved Coronation Street, but if you're going to have somebody setting fire to somebody's house, at least show a bit of a flame.
No, there was orange colours and smoke.
There was a bit of smoke. But this reminded me of when they firebombed Speed Dial. Do you remember? And Stu was trapped in the kitchen and there was just a bit of smoke, and at least then they had some flames in front of the camera to make us...
the sound of like crackling flames?
Yeah, see, they could have done screwed up a bit of paper in front of the microphone. Like
that sound good, everybody?
That was very good, well done.
Oh no, it's hurting, the burning.
It was the worst, cheapest, naffest fire I think that Coronation Street has ever done, and I'm not joking here. What was the point of that? Seriously, what was the bloody point? It was probably because it was the orangery that would have been on fire, and they would have actually, they wouldn't have been able to, like...
They don't have an orangery set.
Exactly.
They have that is it. There's no... You cannot make an orangery set anywhere else. You can't put it inside because it's made of glass. So they're like, don't hurt the orangery set though.
It was really poor. They didn't need to do that. And then she was like, oh no, Betsy and Lauren are upstairs.
I forgot
to put that they might be here. So I suppose I'd better run and put it out.
But you know what was so funny? She looks up. Yeah, she did. She looks up and Betsy's there and she closes the window, right? Like she's going, oh, there's a fire downstairs. I should close the window to stop the smoke from getting in. Anyway,
there's a fire downstairs. Maybe that mysterious stranger in the balaclava and terrible green coat can put it out.
Yeah.
We're listening to our tapes up here. It's very important.
They can win the Weatherfield Good Samaritan Award for doing that.
Yeah, that was ridiculous, that was. Anyway.
I thought it was hilarious and I loved it.
Later on, they've all escaped the raging inferno, and apparently it's all been put out and it's fine.
I loved how Lauren was like, why is everyone going on about this? It's not like you've been kidnapped to a viaduct. She was so nonplussed, wasn't she? She was just like casually leaning there like...
She should be lucky that she got featured in a story.
What's this, a bit of mild peril?
They should have had Ollie come to the rescue, shouldn't they? And use that to add a little bit more spark to their will they, won't they relationship.
Ollie's like, oh, this isn't an authentic fire. It should have been started with kindling.
Anyway, Betsy is now saying, oh my gosh, we've got to go to Spain absolutely now. And we know you've been saying it for days. Just get away from it, please. That's why this whole bit was a bit pointless. All it did was, I suppose it made Lisa realise, okay, we need to go there now, but they could have had it without this.
It wasn't even that, because...
They're just treading water because they know that Corriedale's happening and they've got a few hours to fill before then.
It literally wasn't even that. Lisa's walking down the road going, oh, my house is on fire.
She did. And then Roy comes along, doesn't
Roy's like, oh, it'll all be over soon. And Lisa's like, God.
What sage words, Roy.
Carla's such a bitch. And Roy's like, why don't you just tell her she's a bitch? So she gets her phone out and goes, ignoring me, you bitch? Wow, you're a bitch. You're dumped. Bye. And that's what makes her want to go to Spain.
You're right.
It wasn't even the fire. It was the fact that Carla won't pick the phone up. She's like, I can deal with fire. I can deal with people beating up my ex-wife and giving her concussion. I can even deal with my teenage daughter being imperiled by Molotov cocktails. But ignore my phone calls, and that is the last straw. I'm going to Spain.
The tipping point for
I'm
Lisa.
sick of this, being treated like this.
Yes. So they declare that they're going to have a midnight flit. Oh, no, you're right. So they said that they're going to go to Chariot Square, don't they? They were in Chariot Square. I didn't think it was.
And they're
anyway,
like, don't
Spain
worry,
tomorrow.
Ryan's at a mate in Leeds,
yes.
Which is not really true because he went to a wedding.
Well, no, he was staying over at his mate in Leeds' house before.
Does that mean he's
going
to be all right then?
Yeah, it's fine. It's fine. Right, so Friday, the Swains
He's going to come home and be like, what happened to the orangery?
It's got a slightly singed
we
carpet.
Forgot to mention. Also, Ryan, the other thing that we've got to tell you is that you're completely responsible for the mortgage now.
Friday, then. Big episode of the week. So they're in their hotel room, which was the Chariot Square, it turns out. Becky's fretting. Because I think at this stage, Becky realises that they're so close to what she's been trying to get happen, but she can't allow herself to do a massive Dr. Evil laugh yet, because anything could
go wrong.
Yeah, she's so close to getting what she desperately wants.
And it's interesting because it does make you wonder where actually is Carla.
Yeah, all through this, she's thinking, well, the last couple of days, Carla has been this mysterious place that I dropped her off at.
Is it possible that she could escape at any moment? Is she worried about Kit? Is she worried about Costello? Any cryptic question could throw everything off.
Yeah.
So she's like, give me your phones.
Yeah. Lisa ends up going back to the street, doesn't she? And Sarah comes up to her and says, have you heard from Carla? Lisa's like, well, she should be back tomorrow, but tell you what, screw her. And here's her engagement ring as well. Can you give it back to her, please? It's very, very sad. So Kit's in the cafe later with Sarah, who's a little bit confused because she's looking through Carla's Instagram pictures and there's one of her there wearing this ring that Lisa gave her. So hang on a minute, how can the ring be in two places at once? I think that this must be an old photo.
But this is confusing because when was this photo taken? This can't have been taken by Carla because when did she have a chance between getting engaged to Lisa,
which is only a few months ago,
and when's she been on holiday? I don't know, has she? But Lisa would recognise that's not a photo of her on holiday in Lanzarote. That's a photo of when we went on holiday to Butlins.
I think that Lisa has just been absolutely blind to some blaringly obvious clues, and I think we can just put it down to grief of being separated from her dear Carla, but she should have been able to put two and two together here. If Kit's been able to, if Sarah Louise has been able to spot a clue, then surely Lisa should have noticed.
But the alternative to that is that not only does Becky have a friend who's really good at making websites that are slightly upheld to a bare minimum of criticism of scrutiny, but she also knows somebody who can make a closet look like a beach with just really good lighting. Probably the same person who made it look like there was a fire in the orangery.
Yes, probably. Same special effects guys, yeah. Anyway, so this makes Kit freak out and he goes, "Aha! She must be being held in that closet back in that flat." And they both get into a car and he reveals all about Becky.
He takes her to the crime scene.
Including that she's not Lisa's sister because that's what she still apparently thinks.
Well, she knows who Becky is, but she doesn't know that Becky and Kim are the same person.
Yeah, they very quickly rush through that. She's not dead, deal with it, kind of thing.
What exciting drama! If I'm Sarah, I'm like, bad boys, forget them. They're no good. I like the good guys because they got all the goss.
So Kit and Sarah go to Costello's flat.
Like I said, he takes her to the crime scene. He puts a pair of gloves on. He doesn't say to Sarah, "Don't come in, don't touch anything, don't stand there, don't drop your hairs. Don't come in." He's like, "I've got to wear gloves, but you can touch and lick what you like."
Well, last time when Sarah's hairs turned up where they shouldn't have been, that in the back of Nathan's van. Yeah, exactly. Anyway, so they very handily find one of Carla's hairs.
And they very handily have her DNA profile.
Yes, and then they go and check it out on the computer system at the police station, and it is absolutely hers.
Do you know what this reminds me of? Because Kit had that hair from Sarah, didn't he, in the car? He took it away. Did he hide it? What did he do with it? I can't remember.
Bethany's... It was Bethany's, wasn't it? It was Bethany's scrunchie. He put in Nathan's van.
Because I remember saying this before on the podcast, but there was this interesting case, I think it was in Germany, of this like mysterious, like murderous rapist criminal who was a woman, right? Who was like causing havoc across the whole country. I'm probably remembering this completely wrong, but they were like, this genius criminal is just leaving her DNA and all these crime scenes all over the place. How is this connected? I don't understand. She must be like superhuman or something. And it turns out it was a woman who worked in the crime lab who was just getting her DNA on everything. So the Weatherfield police are like, there's this crime family of blonde-haired women who are always at crime scenes. How can we link them together?
Must be, yeah. Anyway, Kit phones up Lisa because he's found out that this DNA is actually Carla's and calls Lisa and says, "Look, you need to phone me back urgently. Make sure Becky's not with you. Go home, Sarah. We're doing big boy stuff now." And that's how that's left. But you've also got the little bit with Becky taking away all their phones, which they fairly willingly do. I think Betsy's maybe a little bit narked about it, but this is her way of making sure that there's no way at all that they could be tracked.
I just like the idea of Kit saying to Sarah, leave me alone for my important police business. But before you go, can you make me a cup of tea and this is what an awesome police officer mug looks like. And can you take this tinsel away because it's putting me off.
Get me a biscuit as well. They're in that tin that looks a bit like Craig.
Aww.
Anyway, that was the end of that. So that's kind of exciting. I think out of the 3 stories, I'm going to say... How would you rank them? I would say that probably the one that I'm most excited to find out what's happening next is the Todd and Theo one.
No, I want to know where Carla
this
is.
one, and then probably the Carl. I don't know.
No, I think I'm really into all of them actually.
I think I felt this week that it took them a longer time to get there than I would have liked to, but they have ramped up quite excitingly to a good cliffhanger that's gonna get me champing at the bit to come home from work on Monday and find out what's happening next. Because this is we'll talk about it later. Right, whiz through the other stories. I'll take over this if you want to, because Gemma is still very, very poorly at the moment. She's clinging on, bless her. But we didn't have much at the pub. There's a bit about Will talking to Ben on Monday about this whole abortion thing and saying, are you sure that it was your baby and not Adam's? And Ben says, look, I completely trust Eva. By the way, what did Maggie want with you last night? What did my mum want? And Will can't get away fast enough because they're obviously been conspiring about Daniel. Ben hauls Maggie into the pub later and says, look, what is going on with Will? Were you trying to get him to get me to get you to come home? And she's like, no.
No, I'm confused. What do you mean?
Really confusing. And then she kind of backs down and apologises for being cruel to Eva. Can I come home? She's not really sorry, is she?
She doesn't really apologise.
Well, no, he says, like, are you going to apologise? And she's like, oh, I'm sorry then. And
no, she says, sorry, you feel aggrieved about it.
Oh, yes, she does. That's what she says, isn't she? Yeah, well, that on Tuesday she says that, and then she starts complaining about the state of the place while Eva's been looking after it. There's a little confrontation between Meg and Daniel and Will at speed dial, with Daniel still being a bit, leave my word alone, you freak of a kid. And then at the end of the episode, it's revealed that Maggie is not at all sorry, not an iota, and says to Eva, you aborted my grandchild, you will never be my family. Wahaha.
I kind of expected her to have that attitude, to be honest with you.
Yeah. It's either going to blow over at some point or she's going to be out of the show, isn't she?
Or maybe maybe it will be revealed that she had an abortion as well.
Maybe.
Because, I mean, we've got this secret about whether Rufus... Is it Rufus?
Alan.
No, Alan's the dad.
Yeah.
It's the son.
Finley.
And Ben, we assume one of them is an affair child, but what if she did have a baby and aborted it? Because quite often... people will condemn you for a crime they've committed themselves.
Oh, I don't think that's the case in
No,
Maggie.
I don't think so, but...
She doesn't need an excuse.
I can't think of another way of her understand. Like, there's no way that Maggie's going to be like, oh, I've got pregnant by accident. I'd better have an abortion. I can understand why you did it now, Eva. It makes sense. That's not going to happen, is it?
No.
How is she going to come to understand Eva's predicament?
I don't know. I think.
Or maybe she'll just leave under a cloud.
Eva's probably going to just push her out the way of a car that's heading towards her, and they'll just agree to make up in the end. I don't know.
Yeah, that could happen.
But anyway, we're not supposed to be thinking too much about Driscoll's today. That was just mopping up a few ends and
the
leaving
Driscolls
us to...
will be there the end of next week when everyone staggers home from Corriedale and they have to get a pint.
Yeah, and they'll say, "What on earth did we walk into?"
And they'll all look like the bride and the guy from Hocus Pocus as they stagger in, covered in dust.
There was also on Thursday's episode,
because that's what they have up north.
Very strange couple of scenes where Shona's got a bit of a twinge on her belly and, oh, I hope the baby's okay. Oh, yes, the baby is okay. The hospital says so. And we're going to have the exit procedure on the 18th of March.
The exit procedure
didn't really feel like it was needed.
Something you do when you're a NASA astronaut.
Mm. I told you earlier this week that they should have it on Corriedale where Shona and Charity have like an early labour and then they swap their babies unbeknownst to them.
Yeah.
But I don't think Charity's going to be taking Shona's baby with the growth on its neck on Monday and mistaking it for hers.
Or maybe it's just a big misunderstanding.
Maybe it is. I don't know. Then there was also a few scenes of Amy in today, wasn't there, where Cassie ends up being a better mum to her than Tracy is. And
Tracy's too caught up with being evil and judgmental.
Yeah, well, she was there with her eyes on stalks while things were going wrong with Debbie being missing. And
she also was mad about the fact that Steve gave Cassie his cheesecake.
Yeah, there's a few things that I'm wondering are going to come to anything. There's still people theorising, and this isn't a spoiler in any way, that Tracy is going to end up being killed off next week. But again, there's not been a big enough build-up. If somebody's going to get mysteriously killed off, you'd expect them to get a little bit more screen time than they have been getting. But there's got to be some reason for this, and some reason why Tracy is even there. And then you got the whole thing with Maggie finding something in Ken's cupboard. That's not going to come out in Corriedale, surely. But why is that still lingering?
Maybe he's got the cast of Emmerdale in his in a picture.
Oh, maybe John Sugden's been hiding out in Ken's cupboard all this time.
Yeah, maybe. He likes hiding in places. Yeah. Like a little spider.
Anyway, that was this week in Coronation Street. I think we've decided that we're going to end the podcast now just because Gemma's super suffering here. Even though we're like 3 hours into the recording, we're probably at least 4 hours since we started recording it, aren't we? We
can just quickly say that
we can. Let's give our scores for the week first, and then we'll do a
really sorry.
Bit of news.
If you could hear the outtakes of this, you would know.
It's not been pleasant. Not been pleasant.
I'm been being a bit sick.
I am giving this week's Coronation Street 4 erotic toe jobs out of 5.
Nice.
And yeah, it was good, but there was just a few too many little holes and silliness with Becky's disguise and things that kind of brought it down. And I just felt like I said earlier, Emmerdale really felt like it was building up to something all week, and Corrie is just a bit last minute to get there. Character of the week this week. Oh, God, it's going to be hard pressed not to say Debbie on this one.
Yeah, Debbie.
But maybe I might say Billy, actually, because he's been lovely to Todd.
Bill.
And Kit's been doing a bit of investigating himself, but Billy's been investigating with his heart, and he's found something, and he's been lovely, and he did a very nice bit of piano playing at Debbie's wedding. So Billy Mayhew is my character of the week.
Love it. That's nice.
Who's yours?
I'm going to give it to Debbie because I love her, and I'm going to give this week 4.5.
Oh,
yeah, I know, because
that does surprise me.
When we went through the scores for the week, I was giving it all bog standard. But talking back and seeing how much they did fit into this week. And I am actually interested in the 3 main stories, which is unusual. So I give it 4.5 scattered Ronnie's cue cards. Okay. Yeah.
Lovely. So that's it for this week's Street Talk.
And that's it for the podcast.
That's it for the podcast on the whole. What we're
I'm
planning...
really sorry that we can't do your feedback.
Hopefully, no feedback
but
this week.
But please, if there's something you want to say about this week that would still be relevant for Corriedale, resend it if you want to.
Yes.
We might not be able to read stuff because we might have a lot from Corriedale. We do want to know what you think.
And we're planning, hopefully, to do a fairly immediate reactions episode. I don't know whether it's unlikely that we'll be able to put an episode out on Monday night, but hopefully by bedtime on Tuesday, you might get another podcast from us with our immediate thoughts on the Corriedale.
You have to know what we think.
Yes.
You have to.
Well, people might want to know. So if you are tuning in next week for Corriedale, we've said this before, but just as another reminder, so Monday night, we got Emmerdale at 7:00. I would probably say you probably better watch that. Would you say?
I would say...
Even if you've not watched any...
I'd say why not?
Why not? It's only another half an hour.
Bearing in mind that they are going to know that people are going to be watching it who don't know what the heck's going on. I do think that it's going to be pitched to... I think there's going to be lots of people going, audience. What are you doing? The slaves on the farm have all run away with the potato sacks. Things like that.
Coronation Street's on between 7:30 and 8. Now, both of those two are still going to get an early upload on ITVX and YouTube. So if you get in there early, go to town with it. Just please don't litter our timeline with spoilers. Then Corriedale is 8 until 9. And then at 9 till 9:30 on ITV3, you got the Corriedale Backstage Pass, which is the making of thing. So there's no early upload for any of the Corriedale stuff. We will all be watching that together. So hopefully you might even get a few live tweets out of us, if you're lucky.
Oh, are you excited?
I'm super excited about it. I'm even excited. What are they going to do for the theme tune at the beginning?
I never thought of that.
I know. They're
going to cop out with the cold open.
I'd better not do. There's very little about Corriedale that I'm not excited about. I keep on telling myself, but what if? What if it's not great? What if it's just okay? But I am super, super excited. And there are some things, again, talking in riddles a little bit, there are some things that are, I'm going to say, kind of likely to happen. That is probably going to be the big twists of the night. I hope that there are more than that. For example, I mean, this isn't a spoiler at all.
Uh-oh.
Becky, do you think she's going to survive Corriedale? Because we don't know whether Amy Cudden is leaving, has left, will be leaving, but it feels like Corriedale could be a place to get rid of her.
I'm honestly thinking we're going to get a Pat Phelan, a Richard Hillman, because they do this with
disappear off and then come back in a few weeks for a grand finale.
Yeah,
possibly,
because they're not going to want to spend. We can't do predictions too much for Corriedale, but they can't spend. It's going to be like a standalone movie with featuring characters from Coronation Street and Emmerdale. Because who from Emmerdale is going to be watching Corriedale going, God, I hope they get that skanky hoe. They're not going to know who she is. Something's going to happen in the Corriedale thing that is going to be a bit like what happens in the live episode of the tram crash, or like the episode before, where it's going to catapult things into action, but you're not going to follow the characters from the other show unless you watch the show.
Yeah.
So something's going to happen that's got to be quite generic. You've got to be able to watch it and not care who's that. Well, I don't care. All I know is that this is a human being who needs help.
I think they're also...
Do you know what I mean? It's going to be a stunt. If
they're going to be killing off people, are they going to have equality between the soaps and say, well, if we killed off 2 Corries, we can't just kill off 1 Emmerdale?
Well, this is...
I think that maybe John Sugden's from Emmerdale's probably not going to outlast Corriedale. So, but then it's a bit naff if the only deaths are John and Becky, if indeed they are killed and not carted off by the police. But then there is obviously in Coronation Street the other big name that is being bandied around because...
John Sugden's not in Curtis's gang, is he?
I don't know. I'd be really interested to know if there has been a bigger link this week that before this week that we haven't known about. Is the person... Because they've been painsfully not showing who this person is that Becky's been dealing with.
Yeah.
If it all along has been someone in Emmerdale, that might be quite cool. And
it's Mandy Dingle.
There's been a couple of links. There's been more links on
I was about to
Emmerdale this week, haven't
We've
they?
watched Emmerdale and we've heard them mention Weatherfield about 100 times. And on Corrie...
Well, 2 maybe.
No, more than that. They've done more to mention Corrie than Corrie has done to mention Emmerdale.
Corrie has done almost next to nothing.
There was one conversation that Ronnie had with Belle.
Yeah, and he calls her Belle over the phone, doesn't he?
And that's it.
Which is odd
They're not even said Houghton, they haven't said Emmerdale, they haven't said anything.
No. They've just said that they're in Yorkshire, haven't they?
Yeah.
But in Emmerdale, they was on the Christmas Day episode. Well, basically, from there, there's a group of characters coming to Weatherfield for a murder mystery at the Chariot Square, aren't they? So whether we see any of that on Monday, I don't know. Or whether that's the reason why their paths may cross partway along the road or something, I don't know. But there's been a couple of mentions of that, and there's also been... a few more wedding-y bits, haven't they? Because they showed somebody on the phone the other day talking to... Oh, no, it wasn't Belle on the phone. It was somebody else who was on the phone saying, oh, is that Ronnie Bailey?
Oh, I thought
maybe it was Belle. Maybe it was. I don't remember now. Maybe I'm misremembering. Oh, yeah, the Dementia Choir's all ready.
Yeah, it was her.
So, yeah, there's been a few more drops in Emmerdale. Nothing huge, but...
I wonder why. I wonder... Because remember that rumour that we read the other day where somebody was saying, oh, they're only doing this because they're going to get rid of Coronation Street and they want Emmerdale to be the soap. It's like, that would... I'm sorry. Like, I've said before, I support all the soaps, and the more soaps there are, the better. And it's better to have all the soaps healthy and good and thriving than it is to have one soap that's better than the rest. And I don't care... the genre is more important to me than necessarily Coronation Street. But I think that Coronation Street is the genre and it is the original, and if anybody at ITV had any thoughts of getting rid of a soap, they would not get rid of Coronation Street because it's too internationally known.
Oh yeah,
it just is.
They wouldn't hesitate.
That's no slight on Emmerdale, it just is a fact.
But anyway, so yes, very exciting. I'm glad that we watched Emmerdale. I hope it helps. I'm planning to probably not watch Corriedale and make notes at the same time, so I'll end up having to watch it twice, the second time to take my notes.
I wish we could do a live reaction.
I know, I really wish we could, but sadly with our friend Rachel here, that can't happen. But we will be trying to do a reaction as soon as we can afterwards, again, whether it's that day or the next day.
Because you've got to work now.
I've got to go back to school next week. But tell you what, I'm going to be going through Monday just thinking, come on, get to the end of the day. We've got staff meeting after school as well on Monday, so it's not even like I can skip home quickly.
Slam your hands down on the table and go, don't you people know?
But I'm super excited.
Can't you get out early for religious grounds?
No, sadly not. Do please let us know your feedback. Email us, tweet us. Hopefully, as I say, we'll be able to be doing some live tweeting when we're there. Don't even know what's going to be able to happen in terms of Street Talk shorts, because whether we do a short that encompasses the Coronation Street and the Corriedale, because we can't fit in a short between the Coronation Street and the Corriedale, can we? Because we literally can't watch it before the live broadcast, which is when Rachel's round. So it was all very,
I wouldn't worry about it.
Don't worry. No, nobody cares. But I hope you all have a lovely time watching it. I hope you enjoy it. I hope that... my biggest hope is there's something absolutely monumentally, twistily amazing that nobody could have seen coming. That's all I want. Just that tiny little thing. But I guess I'll have to wait and see.
It's not Christmas anymore, so just take what you're given.
Right. Thank you everybody for listening. Goodbye.
Bye.